morning, good morrow. Hello everyone, hello. It's race day. Whoop whoop. Who's ready for a very wet Melbourne Grand Prix? I got my coffee, I got my water. Only thing I'm lacking is snacks. But morning everyone, how's it going? How's it going? The Ducks are happy, Max. Yes, they are. The Ducks are happy. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at the TV coverage for the first time this morning as I've just switched it on, and it looks miserable. It's wet, it's windy. Are they sure they're in Australia and they're not down my local park in the UK? Because that's typical British weather that I'm witnessing out there. Not what you expect to see in Melbourne, that is for sure. Tracks, yes, we do have a trackside reporter here, and this is where we differ to other watch-alongs, guys, is that we have our very own trackside reporters. Ben is trackside today, down under, and he has reported it has stopped raining, but it is still windy and very wet. And yes, of course, if you're new to this channel, we'll be looking at... Where is my chat box gone? There we go. Where have you gone? There you are. There you are. Why did you all disappear? Where have you gone? Why are you all hiding from me? Why are you all hiding from me? There you guys are. There you are. Oh, gee. Oh, dear. Hang on. I'm slacking here. I'm slacking. Where is my... There you are. You're back. You're back. So, why are you guys all the way over here? Get back there. Get back there. Right. Give me just a second. I need my countdown timer, don't I? Ah, honestly, I thought I'd sorted everything out. It's always something that slips by. Race starts at, well, hopefully it starts on time. It should do. We saw the F2 feature race unfortunately get cancelled, if that's correct. So... Oh dear, 30 days from now. No, that's the wrong date, Scotty boy. That's the wrong date. There we go. There we go. Right. There we go. Cool. Done. Ready to rock and roll. A slight oversight from my part. A slight oversight. But yes, welcome everyone. Morning. Hope you're good. Race starts in 40 minutes. If you're just tuning in, of course, the big news is that it is wet, as predicted. But how wet is it going to be? It has been raining this morning throughout Melbourne. It is dry at... Well, it's not... I say it's dry. It's wet as it currently stands. But it is not currently raining. We will have a look at the weather report and the radar to see exactly what is expected this afternoon in Melbourne. But it's most definitely going to be a wet weather start. Let's just hope that F1 allows us to have a standing start, as we know they are quite risk averse when it comes to standing starts in the wet weather. But yes, it's definitely not a nice day in Melbourne compared to the previous few days. As I said, looks more like something I'd expect in the UK. But more than everyone, hope you're well. Good to see the regular faces here for the first race of the season. At the moment, get your predictions in, guys. I have only an opportunity to put 4 drivers down in the poll. Unfortunately, YouTube limits us to 4 options when it comes to a poll. So Norris is currently leading for your Australian Grand Prix winner. Predictions, 47% of the vote. Piastri in second, 20%. Third in 20%. Verstappen in 31%. These are conditions that look like, of course, he would have wanted and prayed for last night. Maybe Max did his rain dance back at his hotel room. As I'm just watching Martin Brundle nearly get swept away with the wind in his with his umbrella. But yes, not long to go, and we'll give it a few more minutes, guys. Let everyone filter in, and then we'll have a look at we'll have a look at the strategy options, which unfortunately for us are in the dry. There are only dry strategy options here, but we'll have a look at the tyre allocations to see what tyres drivers have available as cars are making their way around on their sighting laps to the grid. Everyone's on the wet compound tyre, I believe. Am I seeing any intermediates? Don't think I'm seeing any intermediate tyres, but we do have a new wet tyre here this year with a new tread where supposedly the crossover is a lot closer to the intermediate tyre, so we should hopefully not see just drivers go straight to that intermediate tyre rather than the wet tyre, but we have done in the past. So, but it should be. It's going to be a good one. Definitely going to be a good one. Has Ferrari's gamble paid off on that supposedly rumoured wet setup? That's what we've all heard, haven't we? So, Hamilton is on Inters. Apologies. There is a driver on Inters. Hamilton's on Inters. Everyone's on wets. Hamilton's on Inters. Is there anyone else on Inters? We will see. But it's definitely going to be a race. But well, it may be a race where we get a crossover period. They're the most exciting races. The most exciting races are when it goes from wet to dry. So hopefully we get that today. But definitely looking very wet out there with the drivers just going out. Oh my God, yeah, it's definitely wet. But could be a few crashes today. Now that I said it, you can't imagine Max. You can't stop imagining Max doing a rain dance last night. Morning, Doctor. Yeah, morning, everyone. Morning. Hope you're good. Hope you got your caffeine. Hope wherever you are in the world, you're ready to get prepared and you're in a nice seating position for what is going to be potentially a long race here today. We've seen red flags at Albert Park before, and you have to go back to 2010, the last time we had a wet conditions, or we saw wet conditions in a race at Australia. So yes, 15 years ago. That is a long time. Run a poll of how many cars are taken out on that one. I will do. I'll let everyone get their votes in first for who they think is going to win. Coffee reminder. Yep, get your caffeine in. Get your caffeine. Yep, we'll be looking at the strategies very shortly, Arian. Very shortly. I mean, how relevant it is probably the most irrelevant strategy options that have ever been provided by Pirelli, because, well, it is just a dry. There's nothing there in regards to wet weather. They can't really predict any wet weather strategies because you just never know how long the track's going to stay dry for and how quickly that water is going to disperse. But we'll have a look at the weather report and see if there is more rain expected throughout the duration of this race. That is more so the key indicator here, as there is already a line forming with the cars going around on circuit. So without it raining at the moment, there will eventually be a crossover period. The problem is that even if there is a crossover period, if that dry line forms, where do you overtake? Because there's going to be nowhere to overtake. It's going to be considerably wet off the racing line. So, yeah, we'll see. Or off that line that it develops. You got free-to-air race. You got race on free-to-air TV here in the background. Going to be interesting. Yes, appreciate everyone who's got me. Got me on your TVs. Who is where I am your choice today, basically, for commentary and just in general. As Lewis Hamilton makes his way down into the pits, he's going to do another lap as well on the intermediates. So it could maybe be intermediates. There are a lot of drivers out there on the wets though. A bit of an unknown, the wets this year. So maybe we'll see drivers start on intermediates and gamble on that, going for that straight away. But yeah, we'll see. A new wet tyre, bit of an unknown for most. You're on the rum. I did have a few rums last night, actually. But yeah, welcome everyone. Hope you're good. Hope you're filtering in. We'll just wait for a few more of you to tune in before we have a look at the strategy options and, most importantly, the weather for today. But yeah, it was predicted, wasn't it? Who has gambled on a dry weather setup? That'll be the question. Downforce is your friend in wet weather conditions, but it could be dry conditions later on. But it looks miserable out there. The fans, fair play to you if you're trackside, because you are committed. It is not like it was the last few days. That is for sure. There are puddles through 9 and 10. Oof, yeah. It doesn't help that there was no F2 feature race earlier on as well. As there is an off already for Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon is already off the track at turn 11, which is where his teammate went off yesterday. So, right. Because I can do this right now. Alright, because I can set this up and show you that drivers are making their way around. Normally I don't have access to this, but it seems to be a bit earlier today. Which is good for us. There we go. We can see drivers actually making their way around circuit at the moment. Normally I don't get this info this early, which is good for us to see. I imagine we're going to need maybe a few tyre choices today. Few options. So yeah, drivers just making their way through the pits and getting their sighting laps in. Normally don't click to this early, but we will have a look. Don't worry, we will have a look have a look at the strategy options and have a look at the weather report very shortly, just as drivers are doing their sighting laps. We've already seen an off with Esteban Ocon through turn 11 as drivers are making their way round to their starting positions. But yes, if you're just tuning in, it is hot, it is wet today. Importantly, up there you can see, is it raining? No, it says. It says no, it isn't raining. But you can see there, humidity 87%, and well, the precipitator is definitely a much cooler track temperature than we have seen the past few days. We have seen track temperatures upwards of 40 degrees. It's now 18.7 degrees Celsius. Who will that favour today if we do eventually go and transition to dry conditions? A lot of people will be thinking Mercedes, obviously, because they have excelled in cooler conditions in the past last year. But who else will be able to benefit from those cooler conditions? It'll be much easier on the tyres, that's for sure, compared to what we saw yesterday in qualifying on that soft compound tyre, where tyres were just giving up in that last sector. By the time of the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull got to turn 11, they had no grip left in their tyres, whereas the only team to still have grip in their tyres was McLaren. So, yes. Did Ferrari cook or got cooked yesterday? They cooked their tyres is probably the best description of what happened yesterday for Ferrari. Who's the best in the rain? In the current position, as it stands, you'd have to say Max Verstappen. However, that Red Bull is a lot more twitchier than last year's Red Bull. So that's not going to be very good for today. I still think Lando's also... People will have a look back at Brazil, but Lando is a driver who is very good in the rain. He has excelled in the rain in the past. Lewis Hamilton, of course, we know he's very good in the rain as well, but he has even said himself, he doesn't even know where the buttons are on his steering wheel for certain settings for for wet weather conditions. So could be a tall order for Lewis Hamilton today. Obviously still learning about that Ferrari, but look, it could be a very chaotic race today. And as we have seen in the past, most recently at Brazil, while Max put in a very good drive, he made the least mistakes out of anyone on circuit. And normally in F1, if you keep it out of trouble, then you're going to have a very decent result in very wet conditions. This is just installation laps, guys. Yes, if you're just tuning in, this is just the installation laps. I thought I'd bring this up for you. Normally, this information isn't available to us, but this year it is. So, yeah, just looking at drivers, just making sure they're getting round in one piece. And after they've all made their way round to their starting positions, as you can see that they are there, we will have a look at the, well, the worthless strategy options for today because it's wet weather conditions, or starting off at wet weather conditions. And then we'll have a look at, of course, the tyre allocations. What tyres do drivers have available to them, especially if it does transition to dry? And, of course, that all-important weather report. That is key today. And pit stop loss times and so forth for you guys to mentally keep an eye out on when you're looking at the gaps today in between the drivers. Is this full-fat milk? No, I don't drink full-fat milk. Doesn't sit very well on the stomach. I'm drinking oat milk, actually. Oat milk is what I drink, so sometimes skinny milk because it's much better on the belly. No LR bias for this year. no asymmetric braking. Yeah, not a Max fan, but I think he's got this, especially if Piastri and Norris keep each other occupied. Well, don't rule out George Russell alongside him as well. George Russell, we know the beef. We mentioned it yesterday, all the talk about Piastri and Norris down into turn one. What about Russell alongside Max Verstappen? All the beef. Everyone was saying last year, well, how good it would be to see those two go at it. Well, we could potentially, they're lining up alongside each other for the first race of this season. Who knows, maybe that is a story that will develop this year with those two. Do Oats have others? No, not quite. But welcome, everyone. Right, I think that's the installation lap's done. So let me just bring up... And I'll get that to go down. Let's have a look. Let me bring up my strategy options. Let's have a look at the most pointless graphic you're about to see today, because it is totally irrelevant now. But let's have a look at the strategy options, shall we, for today, provided by Pirelli. There we go, guys. There we go. Right. This is what the strategy options would look like if it was a dry race today, but it is not. So, yes, it most likely would have been a one-stopper, maybe potentially a two-stopper in dry conditions. I think the thing that we can take from this is that, for one, I think Pirelli are a bit drunk. I don't see in any world that the soft compound tyre would have been a viable race tyre after what we saw yesterday in qualifying, and just from what the teams have been commenting on, from what they've learnt on that soft tyre this week. It most definitely would have been probably a medium compound start, but that's not what we're going to get today. We are going to get today the wet weather starts, of course, whether they decide to start on the new wet compound tyre, which is an unknown to most teams, or they decide to start on the intermediate compound. We will see. There may be a mandatory, sometimes there is a mandatory start on the wet compound tyre. I don't think we're going to see that today because it's not currently raining. So teams may be able to make the choice of starting on the wets or the intermediates. And we'll see how that plays out, especially as the track with 20 cars going around it, if they all make it through the first lap, that is, in one piece, will clear that track pretty quickly, especially if it doesn't rain. But the hard compound tyre has been the tyre of choice that we have seen in years gone by here at Albert Park, and what we have seen, we've seen it look good this week as well on the few teams who have done a bit of running on it. So the only problem about that, though, could be that it could be difficult to get that hard tyre into a good temperature window. That's the problem about today. Where is my... No, that's the wrong one I'm looking at there. There we go. Just if you guys are wondering when the race gets underway. So yeah, the problem is that because the track temperature is not upwards of 40 degrees that we have seen the past 2 days, the tyre warm-up is going to be difficult, potentially on that hard compound tyre. So it may be the medium compound tyre, if we transition to dry conditions, is the tyre of choice. And the important question is, who has brand new tyres available to them and who doesn't? So this is the next graphic that is important here. And well, we can pretty much see that everyone barring in the top... Let's have a look at the top 10, to be honest with you. Everyone barring the Ferraris don't have a brand new set available. However, they are in effect brand new tyres that Leclerc and Hamilton do have available to them, because we saw them yesterday go out and scrub those tyres off. So what they've done is they've scrubbed off that shiny layer on the brand new tyre, and it just allows them to get that temperature into those tyres quicker than if they were if brand new, which could be the be all and end all and important when it comes to the round of pit stops, undercuts, overcuts, etc. It can be, especially at a circuit that with cool track conditions today, could be difficult in warming up those tyres. But it is dry. Well, it's not raining at this moment in time. I don't think so. There are some umbrellas up, but it's more so windy than anything. Some umbrellas are coming down, actually, on the pit walk that is currently underway with Martin Brundle. Morning, Spice. Morning. Bet Yuki Tsunoda is going to win. That is a bold prediction. And, well, Yuki Tsunoda does have a brand new set of mediums available to him. And it looks like he has a used set of hards. But I don't remember them doing any hard running. So maybe they've just scrubbed those off as well. Yep, so that's basically it with tyres. Who knows what's going to happen today? The most important thing to look at, really, is, of course, the weather report, which we'll get onto shortly. But let's have a look at the pit lane lost time, shall we? Because this is the gaps that you want to keep an eye out on today, guys. And, well, it is a 19.3 second pit lane lost time. So those are the gaps. So basically a 20-second gap is what these drivers are looking for, especially the top teams, in relation to building a gap out up front to ensure that they come out into some clean air. That may not be possible today. We will see. I do think it will be possible in these wet weather conditions. It is a real unknown for these teams, especially with the setups. We don't know what the setups are. So if some teams have gambled on a dry setup for track position yesterday, they could be at a disadvantage, of course, for today in the wet weather conditions. But yeah, safety car, we have a 50% chance of a safety car here in the last 7 years. So I've got a feeling that's going to be increasing this year, safety car wise. I don't think we're going to have an uninterrupted race, especially with 6 rookies on the grid, and with, just as we mentioned, who knows what setups these drivers have decided to take for this weekend. Red flag, wouldn't surprise me if we saw a red flag today as well. So yeah, make sure you're hunkered down, guys. F1 TV's pre-show is absolutely trash. No, it's not. It's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. Holy Stuffeyy, I always love watching the races with you, but this time you are crazy well prepared this season. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, we try. We try. I even wanted to have like a VT prepared for you, which may cover all of this. But yeah, we'll see if we decide to do that a bit later on in the season when maybe I've got a bit more time to spare to put together. But yes, as you can see there, the weather forecast is 80%, but let's have a look at AccuWeather here, and AccuWeather is a lot more accurate, and it says it is 70% chance of precipitation this afternoon, 3.1 millimeters of rain. So there is still a high percentage of rain this afternoon as the race progresses. But let's have a look at the actual radar itself. So this is the circuit you can see here, and if we move out, you can see just off to the east there is a lot of rain, and if we just play it here, we'll be able to see whether or not, just below the dot of Melbourne, whether or not any green patches appear over Melbourne. 3 p.m. is when the race is due to start, or 2 p.m, and there are a few there that do pop up as the race is kind of about to get underway. So we may be lucky that it doesn't hit. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't want any more rain. I think a wet weather start is good because it's the most interesting, and then transitioning to dry conditions would be best. They're always the most intriguing of races, as we saw at Silverstone last year, as we've seen multiple times. Full wet round here, full wet weather race round here. How good the racing will be, I don't know. But we'll see. Hey Rab, thank you, buddy. Choosing myself and F1 TV at the same time. Slick running for 10 laps, then back to wets. Exactly, it could be like that. It really could. As long as we get multiple stops, that's what will be very nice and interesting to watch, isn't it? So, yeah, that is the current weather report, guys. And, well, at the moment, it looks like Melbourne may be getting away without any rain this afternoon. But that is only up until 3:30 p.m. So that is into the middle of the race. If it goes beyond that, let's refresh this, actually. I'm going to refresh and see if there is an update on this radar. And if it goes beyond 3:30, it does now. It does go beyond 3:30 now. So let's have a look and see if there is any more rain that will appear over Albert Park. There you're looking where my mouse is. And will we have more rain as it currently stands predicted over the duration of the race? No, it looks like it's going to miss it. It does look like it's going to miss it. It's all over to the east at the moment. That's what it seems like. That could be wrong, of course. We know how weather reports are never truly accurate. But that is currently what we are looking at. Oh, there we go. There's a bit there that's just popping up. Just below Albert Park's, around 4 p.m., around an hour into the race, potentially. So, Zach Brown says, definite safety car start. That's because he wants a safety car start. Zach Brown would love a safety car start because it means that Max Verstappen is less likely to overtake his drivers down into turn 1. It means it's less likely that his drivers will take each other out down into turn 1 and Oscar Piastri sending it down into the first couple of corners. So, yeah, exactly, Taco. Zach Brown just doesn't want to lose the lead. Safety car start is exactly what he'd be asking for. But you can see there, actually, that patch of rain. So maybe halfway into this race, an hour into this race, we could be getting more rain. So, yes, it's going to be an intriguing one today, guys. Keep an eye out on that weather radar. I will be keeping you updated as the race goes on. And, well, yeah, you can see it's just sneaking underneath it. Crazy, such a close call with such a big rainfall. Yes. Hey, Spooder, welcome. Why are the Red Bulls slow? Think you would make a fast car? They've got a fast car, but it's a tricky car to drive, isn't it? That's the problem. Even in Max's hands, it looks a real handful. And as we mentioned with Lawson yesterday, he does have... Liam Lawson has never raced this circuit before coming into this weekend. He had an interrupted day yesterday with no run in an FP3. So that's not very good for someone, or helpful for someone who's had no experience of racing around this circuit and very few push laps as well. And it's a track that... it's a car as well that is tricky to handle. You could see that in Lawson's hands and Max's hands, where they were really struggling in that last sector in particular. So yeah, that's where Liam Lawson fell down. But he said himself that really there's no excuse. He should have at least made it through to Q2 and kept it on track. So yeah, we'll see. Hey, Stuffeyy, you missed me. Well, we're back. We are back, that is for sure. So, yes, not long until this race gets underway. The first race of the season, 16 minutes to go. So, I hope you are ready. 600 of you in here already for this early race. So, fair play. If you're tuning in from Europe, we're in this together, guys. We are in this together. Oh. You looked at Max's telemetry on F1 tempo and he was super strong on braking, but lost on the straights. Yeah. I mean, where he really lost it yesterday is in that last sector that we saw on the Ferrari and the Red Bull, that the tyres were just giving up when he approached the last sector, which is turn 11. The slowest sector. So that's where you need all the rear grip, and the rears just gave up by then. They were overheating, whereas McLaren were the only team that were able to manage their tyres much better throughout the course of the lap. And that's just the balance of the car that they've got at the moment compared to the likes of Red Bull. But it may also be a conscious decision in regards to setting up the car with a bit more downforce for today in preparation for wet weather. Charles Leclerc was quoted as saying that they consciously decided to take a hit in performance for qualifying for today, and he hopes it pays off. So, yeah, that to me translates to the fact that they have set up for a wet weather today, but how important will it be? We'll see. You're new to F1 midway. I became a huge fan, so according to you, who has the best control in the rain? Because I have no idea. Well, generally, the best drivers in the rain, one of them is Max. Just look back to Brazil last year. Lando Norris, regardless of what happened in Brazil, is also a very good driver and quick driver in the rain. He has done very well in the past in wet weather conditions. Lewis Hamilton, of course, but Lewis Hamilton has the caveat of being in a brand new car this year, so who knows whether or not he's going to be good in that Ferrari in the rain. All the top drivers, to be honest, are very decent in the rain. And what it will do is that it will, in wet weather conditions, it will mean that tyre management isn't really that much of a factor. So those drivers who maybe you suspect would eat their tyres up a bit more, maybe the likes of Piastri, maybe the likes of Russell, who has a history of that, they won't necessarily do that in wet weather conditions. So, yeah, it's not really something they have to worry about. So it could benefit them as well. But, yeah, some are better than others. Fernando Alonso, don't rule him out. He's always very good in the rain as well. Liam Lawson, of course, he's driving a much trickier car than maybe the RB of last year, but Liam Lawson had a very good performance in the rain last year in Brazil, as did Yuki Tsunoda, as did Esteban Ocon. But, of course, Ocon is driving not a Alpine this time around. He's driving a Haas that doesn't seem to be on the pace, so... Do the teams have different tyres? They do have different dry tyres available to them, but in regards to the wets and the inters, they all have the same allocated to them because they haven't used any throughout the duration of this weekend. Very different stark contrast today compared to what we've seen. As I've mentioned, we've seen hot, nice, sunny, hot conditions, 40 plus degrees Celsius, that is, not Fahrenheit, track temperatures, and now it's below 20. And it's windy as well. That's also another factor, is these cars are super sensitive to the windy conditions. We saw in FP1, I believe it was, a tailwind down into turn 1 and into turn 3, and we saw a number of drivers have little moments down into turn 3 and turn 1 and little excursions because the wind just catches these cars, these highly developed cars, out. They're so sensitive now. So that is also a factor in these conditions as well that could be and determine the race today. Experience seems to make the difference in rain. Yeah, the more experience you got in the rain, obviously the better it is because the more you learn. But yeah. Has Haas ever really been on the pace though? I know. Well, last year they were. I didn't really expect them to be so far down, but... Hey, Greg. Looking forward to a great start. Today is the new F1 season. It is indeed. So yeah, that's the weather report. I'm going to have a refresh again as it keeps updating itself before we head back to maybe the other screen and get ourselves set up with the data. So an extra 5 minutes has been added here. And let's see if there is an update. Let's have a look here. Any update on that patch that was coming through at around 4 PM? Nothing at the moment, nothing. So maybe it's all right for them. But I'm just going to change scene, guys, and we're going to get set up. Hey, Lee, what bloody time do I call this? I know. How is my beautiful daughter at the moment, Greg? She is lovely. She's doing very well. Throwing up quite a bit. Just would like to go one day without having to change her 4 times a day. But, yeah, no, she's doing very well. 6 months now. I can't believe it's 6 months. Or 6 months this week she is. Growing so fast. Right, let's get the data set up, shall we? I'm just hearing that it may be a safety car start, guys. It may be a safety car start, which is going to be a shame. That's going to be a shame, but I guess, as I said, I've said it before, the F1 are so risk averse when it comes to wet weather conditions, and I get it. I do get it. It's mainly due to the visibility, not so much due to them not being able to control the car in these conditions. So, yeah, it could be a safety car start, which would be music to Zach Brown's ears and to Lando Norris's ears as well. Oscar Piastri would not have been wanting a safety car start because it means he doesn't have an opportunity to, or he has less of an opportunity to send it down the inside. So, right. Let's see how that is. Go back. This is way too early for you, James. I know. Right, let's move you guys back down there where you belong. That goes there. That goes there. There we go. And then let's just... Jesus, hang on. I've got a feeling this is going to be important to keep an eye out on today, guys. This right here at the top right-hand corner of your screen is the incidents, is the race control messages. It is most definitely going to be important to keep an eye out on that today. Got a feeling it's going to be a busy one. Risk of rain is 40% according to the data that I have available here. So if you're also tuning in, Liam Lawson and Ollie Behrman have decided to start from the pit lane after making some setup changes to their car. No doubt setting the car up more so for these wet weather conditions. So we'll see how that benefits them in the long run. Beautiful flag animation reminds you of the Colin McRae 98 loading screens. They'll be updating every race weekend as well. So, yes, and if you want to know if it is raining or not and whether or not on track, just keep an eye on this little indicator here at the top right hand, in the middle top right here where it says rain. If it says yes, you know it's raining. If it says no, yeah, self-explanatory. Max is going to overtake 17 cars and finish P14. That'd be a very intriguing race for Max Verstappen, wouldn't it? So 20 minutes feels like an eternity. I know. It does feel like this is going to be the longest 7.5 minutes right now. So, hey Timo, let's have a good race today. Your dad are watching together quite late in Canada, so only the first 5 to 15 laps with him because he has work. Oh, well, hopefully you can keep him up to date. Or tell him to put on this Watchalong channel in the background while he's working. I'll keep him updated, that's for sure. Are we expecting everyone on Inters? Probably not, no. I think under a safety car start, it's mandatory to be on the wet weather compound. If it's a standing start, then you're able to choose which tyre you want to start on. But on the if it's a safety car start, then you have to be on the wets. Morning everyone, how's it going? Welcome. I can see you all filtering in now. Over 1,000 of you here with 6 minutes remaining until the first race of the season. Of course, if you're just tuning in, we have had a look at the weather report. We've had a look at the pointless graphic of the strategy options for today because that has been completely made irrelevant with the wet weather that we have seen today at Albert Park. The F2 feature race was completely abandoned because they ran out of time. F3 was very interesting. I caught a little bit of the start of F3. So that was intriguing to watch. Even in dry conditions, the F3, the standard of driving in F3 for the first race of the year was shocking. So many crashes. But yes, not long to go here. We are expecting a safety car start, which I still think is quite risk averse, which we have seen them in the past do. But that'll be music to Lando Norris's ears and to Zach Brown's ears because it means it's less likely for his two drivers to collide into the first couple of corners and for, of course, Max Verstappen as well to cause any shenanigans. But we'll see. I can't imagine it will be completely plain sailing for all these drivers in the opening laps. You just got a cup of tea ready for this race. Nice. I will be taking a quick loo break before we start this race, guys, and get hunkered down for what I think is going to be a long one. I've got a feeling it's going to be a long one. I'm predicting we are going to see a red flag at some point. I really am. So, let's go. Thoughts on Williams? Oh, the hype around Williams. Yeah, I mean, look, they've done pretty well. But how are they going to fare in these wet weather conditions? Did they set the car up purely for dry weather yesterday? And are they going to suffer for that today? That is the question on my mind for a lot of these teams today. Lawson and Behrman may play an absolute blinder here, taking those changes and starting from the pit lane compared to the likes of Ocon and Hulkenberg and even Antonelli. I'm surprised Antonelli hasn't decided to start from the pit lane, to be honest with you. But maybe they're happy with the setup they've got already. But yes, we will see. Am I going to show the real race? No. I cannot show video footage of the race for copyright reasons. So yes, it'll be very hard to find anyone who shows that for those legal reasons. Ollie will crash. Have faith. Have faith. Come on. He's already had a poor enough weekend. I mean, to be honest, he just needs to bring it home, doesn't he? 5 minutes, let's go. Yes, 4 minutes. Well, 4 minutes actually now. 4 minutes until the first race gets underway. I'm waiting to hear whether or not it's going to be a safety car start. We will find out whether it is a safety car start. Keep an eye on the... Well, I suppose I should really move this down so that you guys can see this at the top right-hand corner of your screen. This is the race control messages. That is going to be a busy... tab there today, or a busy window, so keep an eye out on that. That will let you know whether or not there's any safety cars or whether there are any incidents to keep an eye out on, and that will inform us whether or not of a number of fit goings on today from race control. Am I legally allowed to play commentary? No, I don't believe so. No, I'm allowed to do my own commentary because it's transformative, but I'm not able to do can't falls under copyright and so forth. Yeah, the spin and get into the grid. No, that was Ocon getting to the grid, wasn't it? That was Ocon who had a spin getting to the grid, I think. Which rookie do I think will be the dark horse here today? I think Isaac Hadjar, you know. I think Isaac Hadjar. He had a good qualifying yesterday. He's in P11. I think he could finish in the points today. I have a cool setup. Thank you, Brent. Right, so, of course, here at Mel Albert Park, there are 4 DRS zones that are not available. And we do have tyre blankets off, ladies and gentlemen. And wow, okay, I thought we would be seeing everyone start on the wet weather compound tyre. So maybe that means that we are having a standing start here and not a safety car start. I thought there was a rule that if you start under the safety car, you have to be on the wet weather tyres. But that is not the case. Maybe I've got that wrong. But Lance Stroll... Of course it's Lance Stroll, is the only driver to start on the wet weather compound tyre. Is that genius by Lance Stroll? Has he pulled off an absolute masterclass here? We will see. Only time will tell, as we have 2 minutes until this race gets underway, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in and for getting up this early in the morning, especially you guys in Europe and in the UK. And those of you, of course, in America and west of the UK and Europe, because I know that it is starting to approach later in the evening for you all. Stroll with the 1000 IQ strategy. But right, I'm just going to have a quick loo break. We've got 1 minute 30 seconds. They'll be in starting their formation lap, and then we will be ready to go for the first race of the season. Back in a sec. Here we go. It is going to be a standing start. It is going to be a standing start. 3, 2, 1. The race session is officially underway. There they go. Don't worry, George Russell hasn't got a head start. George Russell hasn't got a head start. Don't worry. Right. Just moments to go for this first race. I'm ready. I'm ready. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the first race of the 2025 season. It is a wet race, very stark contrast to, yes, what we've seen over the past few days. It does look like it is drying out already out there. It is not raining, but there could be rain later on in the race. But it's going to be, regardless, a very interesting one. Let's have a look at this grid. As Isaac Hadjar has already had an off, as Isaac Hadjar on the outlap, the formation lap. I've jinxed him. I said Isaac Hadjar will be having a good race today, and Isaac Hadjar has just lost control of the car through the first corner. What has happened to Isaac Hadjar there? We have a car off at the first corner on the formation lap. I was about to have a run through the grid, ladies and gentlemen, for this standing start here in these wet weather conditions, and Isaac Hadjar has gone off from P11. And I wonder, I mean, he's not moving, so he must be stuck. He must be stuck. Oh dear. Oh dear. Just waiting to see exactly what has happened. The TV coverage still hasn't shown it, by the way. And yes, Isaac Hadjar. Oh, his rear wing, he's binned it. He's binned it. His rear wing is off. This is going to be a postponement of the race, ladies and gentlemen, because he has lost control of the car. And he has hit the barrier and his rear wing is off. I've jinxed him. I'm so sorry, Isaac. I'm so sorry. We're on board with Isaac Hadjar. What has he done as he's going through? Oh, no. Oh, it's such a rookie mistake. We are seeing so many rookie mistakes here today. He backed off. He got his foot down on the throttle. And he just had rear wheel spin and went straight backwards into the barrier. And yes, there is no way that this race is going to get underway. As you can see, there is an aborted start. Oh, my goodness. I just got asked who is going to be the best performing rookie today. And I went, Isaac Hadjar is one to watch. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, that is going to be the end of his race weekend, unfortunately. But let's have a... He's definitely out of the race. The rear wing is not something that you can easily replace. So, yes, it is an aborted start. And, well, how quickly can they remove that car? We will see. No doubt they'll be going around for another formation lap. But will they have to just completely abort the start and get the team and drivers out, get all the engineer crews out there again? I mean, as Hadjar looks distraught, understandably, as does his garage. But we said that it may be interesting with 6 rookies on the grid. Well, now we've got 5. I do still count Liam Lawson as a rookie. So, yeah, we have 5 rookies on the grid at the moment due to Isaac Hadjar not even making it round to the start of this race. It's a real shame for him because he had a decent qualifying yesterday. So, yeah, not a good start for this race for Isaac Hadjar. Head in hands. He is no doubt going to be... he's absolutely distraught. I feel for the lad. But he's been caught out. He's been caught out here and he's learnt the hard way how difficult F1 is in these conditions. So... yeah, it's a real shame for him. He's taking his time. They have already removed that car. Out of the way. So we will see. Formation lap will start 15:15 on the hour, ladies and gentlemen. So that is another 10 minutes until this race gets underway again. Let's do you know what? Let's redo this. Let's redo the countdown timer. I thought we'd get interruptions in this race, but I didn't think it would be before the race even begins. Bless him. Trying to get some temperature in the tyres, and he ended up just, yeah. Oh, dear. Bless him. Right. Oh, hang on. All right. Not how he wanted his F1 career to start off, obviously, after yesterday, which was a great start to his career. What is the time? Definitely... 4 a.m, sorry. Ooh, no wonder it's not doing that yet. A real shame, just such a rookie mistake in these conditions. Such a rookie mistake, unfortunately, but there we go. Race start postponed. 1:15 on the hour, guys, is when the race will get back underway. So yes, that's why we've got that there. He's crying. I'm not surprised. I'd be crying as well. I'd be crying as well because you haven't even made it to lap 1. It is super embarrassing, no doubt, but you learn the hard way. You learn the hard way, as Ollie Behrman has done this weekend thus far. And Lance Stroll seems to have changed off of the wet tyres onto the intermediates. So he has decided to change onto the intermediates. So everyone's starting on that tyre, and it does seem like we are still going to get a standing start here. Ricciardo is looking pretty good right now. Look, it's just a shame, isn't it? At the end of the day, Hadjar wanted to sleep at home. Will it be one less lap now? It will be one less lap. Yes. So you can see there at the top left-hand side of your screen that one lap has, or it should say one lap has been completed, or it will say 2 laps have been completed. Yeah, it should say 1 lap will be completed when they come round to their starting positions again once they've done a formation lap. The rookies are going to hate the rain, I know. I crashed hard. Ugh. People judge way too early, Spec. People judge way too early. Some of the comments I saw about Liam Lawson yesterday, which understandably was going to happen, the first time he made any sort of mistake was going to be about Yuki, was going to be about Daniel Ricciardo or Sergio Perez. Yeah, people expect these drivers to be on it from the get-go, but very rarely do rookies hit the ground running anymore in these modern F1 cars. It's not like time's gone by. The formation lap the second formation lap will count though, because they have to, they can't refuel. I don't think they're not allowed to refuel on the grid right now. I mean, I may be wrong. Maybe they will refuel. Because it's an aborted start, maybe they will refuel and we will see that there isn't a lap that's been taken away. So Sergio would have skidded off in the pits. Yeah, you've been doing F1 puns like some unbearable puns, and Alpine are doing bad so far. So bad. So bad. But yes, welcome everyone. 2,500 of you in here at the moment. So if you are liking this stream, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're just tuning in, why have we not got underway yet? Well, that is because Isaac Hadjar unfortunately crashed at the first corner on the formation lap, and he is out of this race. He is not looking good right now, understandably. So he'll be fine. He'll be fine in the future. He's got a camera, literally a man with a camera walking and pointing straight at him as he's got his head in his hands. It's a real shame for him. He's only a young lad, but he'll come back stronger for it, no doubt. The only thing you're not sure of is the procedure is different between aborted start and cancel start. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either, to be honest with you. Oh, look, that's nice. Anthony Hamilton so Lewis's dad has gone straight up to Isaac Hadjar and giving him a hug and is giving him some words of encouragement. That's nice to see. So yeah, don't know what's being said right now, but maybe that's nice of him. And because he's just walking through the paddock at the moment, and everyone's just obviously giving him a wide berth, and there's cameras everywhere, and that's nice for someone to just put a hand on his shoulder or an arm around him to give him some words of encouragement, which no one else was doing. He's only a young lad, and it's hopefully that at least he'll get over it. He'll get over it. So Verstappen for the win, potentially. So 5 minutes, guys, until this race the formation lap gets underway again, and we have a second attempt at the race start. The race hasn't even got underway yet. They haven't even made their way down into the first corner. Oh, yeah, class act from Anthony Hamilton. Class act. That will go a long way for Isaac Hadjar, and we've all had low moments in our life, and sometimes you just need some words of encouragement. So top 3 dads ever, I swear, yeah. I mean, he's been through it as well with his son. He's been through the ups and downs, of course. Lots of highs in Lewis's career, but there's plenty of lows as well. So that second RB seat seems to be jinxed. No. Imagine another accident on the second formation lap. I mean, it's possible. The good thing is that the track is clearing. So the track temperature has increased slightly as well. It's no longer 18 degrees. It's up to 19. The track is clearing. They're on the intermediate tyres, and there's going to be a standing start, so they're not on the wets. It is not raining at this moment in time, so yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one. But they still have to, it's very slippery out there. They're definitely going to have to be keeping an eye on those white lines, keeping it within track limits, and I think we're still going to see some spins. And the thing is with Albert Park as well is that there's no room for error. There's gravel in a lot of places where in other circuits there would be concrete runoff. We've seen drivers go off at turn 6. In 7 minutes, we expect Class 1 rain, lasting for 5 minutes. Then there will be a 5-minute gap. Then another 10 minutes of Class 1 rain again, is what Leclerc's been told. So there is more rain on the way, supposedly. That's according to Ferrari's weather reports. So we will see. We will see. It could be it's going to be a very tasty race. But as I was finishing my sentence, is that Albert Park, there are literally no room for errors here at this circuit. There is gravel in areas where, yes, as I mentioned, there would be other circuits, concrete runoff. And of course, there are walls everywhere here. There are walls everywhere. So you make a mistake, as like Isaac Hadjar just found out, it is very costly. So we will see. We will see. But 3 minutes to go, guys. 3 minutes to go. Should they use the wet tyres? No, not right now. It's not wet weather condition. It's not enough of a... It's not strong enough right now to go onto wet weather tyres. Whether someone decides to gamble on that, I don't know. Maybe someone decides to slap on the wet weather tyres again. Maybe Stroll goes, no, you know what? Get me off the inters again. Put the wets on. If that rain is on its way, get me on the wet weathers again. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, guys. I've got a feeling that I'm not going to have enough. I haven't got enough columns here for the tyre history. Ferrari strategies thinking slicks are the way to go. Oh, honestly. Hey, Vinay. But it's very early in the morning for us, guys. It is indeed, yes. I've been up since 2:45. Or half 3. Half 2 is when I got up. So, Stroll changing back to wets. Maybe he does. But yes, not long to go, guys. 2 minutes, 2-minute countdown. So if you want that quick toilet break, if you've already drunk through your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, now's your time to go and top it up and replace it, because we have 2 minutes until the formation lap. A second attempt at our formation lap gets underway again. And yes, who knows if we'll make it through that without any casualties. Imagine those who criticise Hadjar has done pretty well in a world stage under such pressure as a 20-year-old themselves. Yeah. I mean, it's just obviously it's embarrassing for the lads. I understand. After a great high of yesterday, qualifying P11, to do that, it's I'd be harsh on myself. I'd be pretty embarrassed and upset. So it's understandable. My life felt complete these last few months. Now I know it was because I was missing Stuffeyy. Sweet talker, Camille. You're a sweet talker. You're watching from Australia, Mel. Nice. Yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome wherever you are in the world. Thank you for choosing this watch along. We have 1 minute to go until the first formation. Well, second attempt of our formation lap at the first race gets underway again. It is a wet weather start. Very contrasting... everything really contrasting conditions compared to what we've seen the past 2 days. We've seen dry, beautiful, sunny blue skies. It's been 40 degrees track temperature, and now we have a track temperature that is less than half what we have seen over the past couple of days. And of course, we're all starting on the intermediate tyres right now. So yes, who has gambled on track position and gone for a dry setup? Who has predicted these sorts of conditions and has slapped on some more downfalls, as maybe what Ferrari were predicting, which is why they potentially struggled in qualifying yesterday. Will that benefit them in the race? We will see. Not long to find out. 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, until the formation lap gets underway again for the second time. And hopefully we will be able to soon get this race underway and start this 2025 season for real. Right, 0 seconds now, and surely Lando Norris will be getting underway any second. There we go. Right, let's see if everyone can make it through turn 1 and 2 safely this time around. The track is drying a bit. It does look like the on the TV coverage that the air itself seems a bit clearer. People have removed their umbrellas, they have removed their anoraks and their covers, and well, maybe they'll be putting them back on in 5 minutes time if the Ferrari weather report is accurate. But here we go, guys, here we go. Woo, watching from the Philippines, welcome Brian. Wait, is Hadjar back? No, Hadjar isn't back. No, Hadjar, his icon will disappear at some point. It will shrink and go transparent. But unfortunately, yes, Isaac Hadjar, if he just got away with a front wing damage, it would have been fine. But unfortunately, he went into the barrier backwards, which meant that his rear wing was half hanging off, and you can't replace the rear wing on these F1 cars. Not anymore, anyway, and not in quick time as they used to in F1. But right. Let's have a rundown as... Hang on a second. We'll just wait for Ollie Behrman and Liam Lawson to get through turn 2 safely. Yes, they have done. Right. Right. No drivers off at the first and second corner. Let's have a rundown of your Melbourne Australian GP race, the Louis Vuitton race. Let's have a look. Lando Norris on pole position today. Everyone's starting on the intermediate compound tyres, as you can see. Lando Norris is your pole sitter. Lining up alongside him is Oscar Piastri. He'll be absolutely chomping at the bit to get going here today and have an opportunity of winning his home Grand Prix. Of course, he'll be over the moon, but it is not a safety car start here today, and it is a standing start, as will Max Verstappen, who is in P3. Lining up alongside him is George Russell in P4. A mouth-watering prospect for the front 2 rows there. Yuki Tsunoda, a great performance yesterday in qualifying, arguably one of the standout performers in P5 in that RB. Alex Albon in P6 for a great day. Both Williams in Q3 with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Contrasting terms for them, not a great qualifying session, but have they set up for these wet weather conditions. Pierre Gasly in P9, Carlos Sainz in P10. Isaac Hadjar, as we know, was in P11, but he has just lost control of the car on the first attempt of the formation lap and is out of this race. Fernando Alonso in P12, Lance Stroll 13th, Jack Doohan in P14. Baltoletto doing a good job of getting that stake F1 car out of Q1 as he started in 15th. Antonelli in 16th. He is also good in wet weather conditions, as we saw in F2 last year. How would he get on in his first race in the Mercedes? Nico Hulkenberg in 17th. Liam Lawson starting from the pit lane in 18th. Ocon is in 19th, starting on the grid. And Ollie Behrman is also starting from the pit lane as well. And here we are, guys, moments away from this race getting underway. Here we go. Just waiting for Esteban Ocon to line up at the back of the grid. And then it will be lights on and away we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here we go. Esteban Ocon lining up at the back of the grid. Sorry for that. I thought I'd do the lights, but unfortunately, here we go. Green light, away we go as they head down to the first corner for the first time in this 2025 season. Is Lando Norris, who leads from Oscar Piastri, but will there be any collisions as they head through the first chicane? And will the data, unfortunately, heading back from Australia, slightly delayed there. Apologies. Who is leading? And Verstappen has got ahead of Oscar Piastri. George Russell is still maintaining position there. Albon has lost the position to Charles Leclerc, but is Norris from Max Verstappen as Charles Leclerc has made quick work of Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon as they head down into turn 3. And everyone is we've got drivers side by side in these wet weather conditions. And importantly for Lando Norris, he has already pulled out a 1.2 second gap over Max Verstappen on this first half a lap here. I do apologise for the track map data, which is slightly delayed. That is outside of my control, but if you keep an eye out on the interval times there, you can see the movement of the positions of these drivers on the standings. We can see Jack Doohan has gone down and he's dropping down into 18th place. He's dropping down the field. Jack Doohan, has he had a spin? He has indeed, and he's crashed, I think, in an area where there is no room for error. Then we have a safety car on the first lap. Safety car deployed, and we have lost 2 rookies in the opening lap here of this Australian Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri got pipped by Max Verstappen down into turn 1. It was a bogged down start for for Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen took advantage of it. Charles Leclerc making a great start here, up 2 positions, past the 2 roadblocks, you could potentially say, of Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon. Hamilton unable to do the same, and well, let's have a look to see exactly what happened with Jack Doohan in an area where there are walls either side. We have seen cars crash here plenty of time through turn 5, and oh my goodness, the Alpine car is an absolute wreck right now. It is an absolute wreck. What has happened there? Is it driver error? Was it his fault, or was it down to someone else? We will see a replay, no doubt, but that is not a good start for Jack Doohan. Flavio Briatore is telling Colapinto to warm up already for the Chinese Grand Prix next week, and that is not great for the other homegrown driver here, the Australian Jack Doohan. What has happened there? The rear of the car is in pieces. Was it driver error, or was it a collision? Yet to see if anyone else will come into the pit lane. There's Carlos Sainz is off as well. What's happened with Carlos Sainz? What has happened with Carlos Sainz? Carlos Sainz is off at the last corner as well. He slowed down. That's right at the pit lane entry. And what has happened? What has happened? I'm so intrigued to see. Not entirely sure right now what has occurred, but it is an absolute chaotic start to this race, as we predicted, as Carlos Sainz has supposedly crashed. My TV coverage, a safety car through the pit lane. So yes, Carlos Sainz is off. Right, so watching the replay of Jack Doohan now to see exactly what happened here. Was it driver error? What happened as he gets on throttle? Oh dear. Oh dear. The rear just spun up. The car just spun up. Another rookie getting caught out by the torque of these F1 cars in these wet weather conditions. Very similar to Isaac Hadjar. And the rear just went round on him. So pure driver error, as Carlos Sainz is out of this race as it currently seems. I'm watching the TV coverage now, and he says he's okay. The Williams mechanics have their heads in their hands, and Carlos Sainz, in his first race, my fantasy team, ladies and gentlemen, Carlos Sainz, I have him in my fantasy team, and unfortunately, I'm not now going to score any points from him. What a shame that is. What has he happened there? On the safety car, and another driver who has lost control on throttle. So while we have seen Isaac Hadjar and Jack Doohan, 2 rookies, lose control in the same manner where you'd think they're rookie mistakes, Carlos Sainz has done exactly the same, and he is a very experienced driver under the safety car nonetheless. Such tricky conditions out there at the moment. Drivers losing control of the car just by getting on throttle. Not even going through corners fast, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable right now. It is a super slippery track, and well, that is not a mistake that you normally see from a driver of Carlos Sainz's experience. So that will at least maybe make Isaac Hadjar and Jack Doohan feel a touch better about themselves, that someone of Sainz's caliber and experience has done exactly the same. But yes, let's have a rundown of this grid, shall we? Wow, 3 DNFs in 2 laps, 1 DNF before the race even began. Wow, let's have a look. So, Lando Norris in P1, Max Verstappen in P2. He launched past Oscar Piastri at the start, so a good start by Max Verstappen. George Russell held position in P4. Charles Leclerc, the best, arguably, other than Nico Hülkenberg, who we'll get to, has one of the best starts on the grid there, jumping past Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon. Important for Ferrari's race today that he is already behind George Russell. Yuki Tsunoda in P6 and P7. Hamilton unable to do what his teammate Leclerc did in his first race in the Ferrari, is in P8. Gasly still holding position. Alonso and Stroll are up 2 positions. One of those is due to, of course, Isaac Hadjar, who was out on the formation lap, as is Nico Hülkenberg as well, who is up 5 positions. He has gained a few positions out on track, 3 at least, 1 from Doohan and 1 from Isaac Hadjar. Antonelli already up 3 positions as well. Bortoletto up into 14th. Ocon up 4 places into 15th. Ocon's done well, gaining a couple of positions there. I think one of them was from Liam Lawson starting from the pit lane anyway. And Ollie Behrman in 17th. But we have done not even one full racing lap yet. And Charles Leclerc is reporting that the track is drying up quickly, but there is more rain predicted. Well, it's drying up quickly, Charles, but drivers are still having issues with their throttle inputs, it seems. Wow. So, why Carlos out? Car problem? Yes, a car problem, because he's in the wall. He spun the car. Having a look at the race restart, though, to see exactly how good Max Verstappen's start was on Oscar Piastri. And yeah, Max Verstappen had a better start than the two McLarens. He had a much better start than the two McLarens. And, well, Lando did, by the way, great defense from Lando. The boy has learned. The boy has learned. He covered off Oscar Piastri to the inside. He covered off any opportunity for Max Verstappen to get round himself as well. And Max actually overtook Oscar Piastri down into turn 3. Apologies, it wasn't at the race start. But Max got a much better start, a considerably better start than both those McLarens. If it was dry conditions, I think Max would have gone for the move around the outside of potentially Oscar Piastri, but he sat back and he picked his moment and utilised the grip while Oscar Piastri was on the racing line and couldn't get traction down. So if you're unfamiliar with the wet line in racing, you do not want to be on the traditional dry racing line because it is more slippery. That is why you see drivers kind of taking wider lines through corners, because that is where the grip is, where no rubber has been laid down. Just watching the replay of Jack Doohan as well, and it's just such, it's just as he gets some power. It's as he's shifted as well. I mean, it's an odd one. It is an odd one for Jack Doohan. Oh, my God. He nearly hits the camera. Jeez. Oh, guys, if you're just tuning in, what a start to the Australian Grand Prix, eh? What a start to this Australian Grand Prix. Thank you for everyone tuning in right now. If you think you've missed the start of this Australian Grand Prix, well, technically you have, but it has been an action-packed, well, I say an action-packed, it's been an eventful first half a lap, shall we say. Carlos Sainz dropping it under the safety car as well is just bizarre. Just listening now to Carlos Sainz. I think... Do you know what? I think Carlos Sainz hits the white line. I think Carlos Sainz hits the white line that is one of the road markings in the middle of the track. I think that's what's happened there. That's very odd. It's very odd for someone of Carlos Sainz's caliber to do that there. It seemed like, I mean, I may be wrong, but from what I saw from the onboard just there, his left tyres were right on the white lines. And of course, this is a street circuit, so painted lines, you want to stay off of them, but sometimes it's not feasible if you are at a street circuit and they're everywhere. So, Williams mechanics will not rest this season, I know. They cannot go a Australian Grand Prix weekend without a crash, can they, unfortunately? So, not so smooth, I know, not so smooth. Watching a race like this made me reminisce enjoying any of the 80s sports in rural areas. Several ingredients missing are crowds encircling the radio and the one holding extended antenna cables. But, hang on. Apparently, Carlos Sainz was complaining about an increase in torque, so maybe it is a car issue. Maybe it is an issue with the car that caused Carlos Sainz to have that spike in torque there. As I said, you wouldn't expect someone like Carlos Sainz to make that mistake, but they're still making their way through the pit lane, which means they are still trying to remove Carlos Sainz's car and any debris from that last corner. We also have a recovery vehicle on track still for Jack Doohan's car, which is in between the walls at the moment. And that's it. Here we go. So the Mercedes engineer might... See, this is why you tune into this Watchalong stream, guys. Bono has just confirmed to Antonelli that Doohan indeed lost control of the car by putting his wheels on the white line in the middle of the track. And that is what I believe Carlos Sainz has also done as well. Because it's very odd that both of those drivers lost control of those cars where they did. So yes, not only do you need to be careful of the white lines around the edge of the circuit, you also have to be careful of those road markings in the middle of the circuit as well. So, yes, that is... I think it may be a combination of the two, Taco. It may be a combination of the two, but he's definitely on the white line as well, Carlos Sainz, as he's heading through that last corner. And, yeah, bizarre. Bizarre, isn't it? I mean, I don't think that can really be attributed so much to Jack Doohan. And it's only... As well, the visibility is also tricky through the out there still, but the track is drying up. There is no wet. Drivers are putting on new intermediates, by the way. You can see Ocon's dipped into the pits, as has Lawson, as has Behrman. So they've all put on brand new intermediate tyres. Everyone's still out there. Of course, they're at the back of the pack, so it makes sense for them to put on brand new tyres because they're not going to lose any positions, so we won't see that from the front three. But this is eating into our lap time, guys, and our time in the race. So safety car will use it to start. We'll use the start-finish straight now, which is good. So that means at least Carlos Sainz's car has been removed. Green in the last sector, thankfully. But we have 1 hour, 48 minutes of time available remaining in this race. Of course, it is a time, you have 2 hour time limit in these races now to complete the amount of laps. And, well, we're about to complete our 5th lap and go on to our 6th. And we haven't even had a full lap of racing yet. F1 is just racing, bro. Okay, it says clear in Sector 8. So maybe one more lap under the safety car, I think. We'll have one more lap under the safety car, and then we should be able to get racing again. Ooh, Stroll's actually made it further than he normally does. There's still time left in this race, so stay tuned. But if drivers are being caught out by those painted lines of just the road markings in the middle of the track, we could potentially see more crashes here. So something that the drivers, I mean, if they didn't have their head on a swivel right now anyway, are worried about so many different things in this wet weather race, they're even going to have to keep an eye on that now as well. So what happened with Sainz and Doohan? So yes, Sainz just lost control of the car under safety car conditions. I think he has, hang on. No weather update, no significant rain expected for at least 30 minutes. That is what has been relayed to Lando Norris. So that rain that Ferrari was expecting is looking like it's going to miss the circuit at the moment, or has at least been delayed. Jack Doohan's car has, on the flatbed truck, has made it round to turn 8 somehow. Because where he crashed, there's just walls either side. But yes, not long to go, guys. I'm waiting for the update of whether or not the safety car will be in this lap. Surely it will be. Surely it will be. Just waiting to see whether we're going to get that message or not. If the track is clear, it should mean that we are ready to rock and roll. But yeah, not a good start for the rookies. We've had, of course, Ollie Behrman crash this weekend in FP1. We've had Liam Lawson go off in qualifying. We've had Jack Doohan. We've had Isaac Hadjar in the race already. Will Antonelli make it to the end? Who else is out there? Behrman? Bortoletto? Will they make it to the end of this race? We will see. The track isn't clear yet, no. Doesn't look like it. It seems very late for this safety car to be coming in, so it looks like we're going to get another lap. Oh, come on. But, yeah. Just waiting, guys. Just waiting. So if you're new to this channel, though, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get this stream to 1,000 likes, shall we? Over 5,500 of you in here. Welcome, welcome. But we will get racing soon, hopefully. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, just subscribe to the channel when you hit the like button. Thank you, Anthony. Much appreciated. Yeah, thank you, everyone. We waited a long time for this, and we're still waiting for racing. I'm sure we can wait a touch longer, but I'm getting impatient. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We want to go racing. But, yeah. Uneventful first race of the season. The spirit of Logan still resides in that Williams. Yeah, I mean, he was complaining about torque, but I still think it may be a combination of the two, but I definitely think he got on the white line. I think he definitely got on that white line out the last corner, and as similar to what Jack Doohan did. And that's why he lost control of the car. So, thank you, Bo. Much appreciated, guys. What are my predictions on the experienced driver is going to be for Cadillac? Oh, I don't know about Cadillac. I think Sergio Perez will be brought back, to be honest with you. I just think he's just brings too much money. And considering Cadillac are spending $450 million to join F1 in the first place, they need to try and regain every dollar that they can. So, yeah, I think Sergio Perez will be one of them as the experienced driver, and maybe they'll go for a more younger driver. We'll see. Please, no Checo. Who knows? There's going to be lots of their phones will be blowing off the hook, won't they? Or ringing off the hook. Sorry. Safety car in this lap, yes, because so many drivers will be looking at an opportunity to get on the grid for next year. So I don't think they'll be short of any candidates. That's for sure. But whether or not they'll go for an American driver, we will see. But anywho, back to the matter at hand, which is the Australian Grand Prix. We are finally, after 7 laps of trudging around really behind the safety car. We are about to get underway again. Safety car is in this lap. Lando Norris leads from Max Verstappen, Piastri in P3, who got overtaken by Max around the outside through the second corner. And well, George Russell is in P4. Charles Leclerc has made up 2 positions as well. But are we going to see a repeat of what we've just seen already? The drivers need to be aware of those white lines and of course on throttle. It is still wet out there. It is still intermediate tyres, but the track is drying. When is Lando going to go? The safety car is in, and I think Lando has gone. And here we go. 4 DRS zones here at the Albert Park circuit, but not available right now for use because it is a wet track. Here we go. Down to the first corner for the 7th time, but shall we say for the first official time other than the actual race start, as Max Verstappen is in the tow of Lando Norris, as the data is seeming to go on the fritz and unable to handle these drivers as they head down to the first corner in these wet weather conditions. But Max Verstappen is in the tow of Lando Norris down into turn 3, and well, Oscar Piastri, who is hoping for a decent result here at his home circuit and trying to become the first Australian to win his home circuit since, well, in an official capacity at least, and the first driver since the 1980s. He is tucked up behind Oscar Piastri, but it seems it is normal service resumed and there are no changes in positions at the moment as the drivers make their way through the section Jack Doohan lost control earlier. George Russell seems to have just fallen a little bit off of Oscar Piastri there through those couple of corners out of turn 4 and 5. Charles Leclerc, who is potentially on that wet weather setup that he described yesterday, or hinted at least, does seem to be in a nice condition as there is a safety car infringement by Fernando Alonso being investigated. But you can see there the front 3 pulling away already from George Russell and the field behind. Esteban Ocon is closing up to Bortoletto already, and Lance Stroll is about to be overtaken by Nico Hülkenberg, who is making great ground here as he is up into P11, I believe. Is able to hold on to this place from Lance Stroll? No, he is not, as the data is on the fritz right now. I do apologise, as there is a slight delay as Nico Hülkenberg had to give that position back. This, of course, is being transferred to us from the other side of the world. So no doubt there may be some hiccups here in this first race of the season. So this is out of my control. Unfortunately, any lags and pauses in the data, I do apologise, but no doubt it will sort itself out maybe once the conditions clear up. But it is Lando Norris after our first official clean lap of racing in the 2025 season. It is Lando Norris from Max Verstappen in P2, Oscar Piastri in P3, George Russell P4, Charles Leclerc in P5, Tsunoda 6th, Albon 7th, Hamilton 8th, Gasly 9th, Alonso 10th, Stroll 11th, Hülkenberg 12th, Antonelli 13th, Bortoletto 14th, Ocon 15th, Lawson 16th, Behrman 17th, and there's another safety car infringement being noted by Yuki Tsunoda as well. Oh dear, what will happen there? Under investigation. Alonso is also for that safety car infringement. And who knows what that safety car infringement was. Maybe he dropped too far back behind the safety car. That's normally what it means, unless he decided to get past the driver ahead of him. There's now no longer allowed to be an overlap of wheels, front wheels to rear wheels, as Max Verstappen is really good in the wet weather conditions. We know he's very good right now, and he is closing in on Lando Norris. He just backs out of Lando Norris through turns 9 and 10, but he's under half a second there. He had a great exit through turn 6 and 7 and was less than 3 tenths behind Lando, but just couldn't get the drive with no DRS available at the moment. Could not get that overlap on Lando into turn 11, into turn 9, but Max is all over the rear wing in those rear view mirrors of the papaya of Lando Norris up front. Oscar Piastri just falling back a little bit right now, as we can see that Charles Leclerc and George Russell, they're just trying to catch up to Oscar Piastri. 1.4 seconds from George Russell to Oscar Piastri. Lewis Hamilton stuck at the moment in his first wet weather race behind Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, with Pierre Gasly and Fernando Alonso close behind as well. Stroll holding off Hülkenberg and Antonelli hunting down the Stake F1 car in his first Mercedes race. But Max Verstappen, it seems like Lando's had a much better first sector this time around. What happened to him through turn 6 last time, I'm not entirely sure, but you can see the last lap was 3 tenths slower than Max Verstappen, who has set the fastest lap. So maybe he had a little wobble through turn 6 and turn 7, which is why Max was able to gain on him so much through round to turn 9. But Max Verstappen there, yeah, you can see Lando Norris just having a much smoother turn 6 and turn 7 there. But Max in the tow is still gaining. He's not letting Lando get away just at the moment. Charles Leclerc and George Russell really need to try and catch up to the back of Oscar Piastri. We are expecting rain in around 20 minutes time, I believe, as the weather forecast suggested, and the engineers are relaying to their drivers. So drivers out there on a drying track at the moment on intermediates, how long will they last? It does seem like there's a dry line already forming, but I can see on the TV coverage. And well, it definitely is nowhere. It's definitely not close enough for slicks, but we can see a definite line forming right now out there. So this track is clearing. So if it stays like this and there is no rain on the way, then it will not be long until we get to maybe slick tyres. We have 47 laps remaining in this race. Lando Norris still leads from Max Verstappen, and this time around he has had a much better lap of 32.1 for Lando Norris compared to Max Verstappen's 32.6. Half a second gained in that last lap alone for Lando Norris on the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri lapping the same pace as Verstappen last time around as well. They are the only 3 drivers lapping in the 32-second range. All the others are in the 33s. George Russell may be holding up Charles Leclerc at this stage in the race. Who knows if Leclerc, if he was let loose by George Russell, would have a bit more in hand. Lewis Hamilton, likewise, stuck behind Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, unable to clear those 2 drivers at the start of the race compared to his teammate. He needs to ensure that he digs deep here in this race and overtakes them quicker and sooner rather than later. Further down the grid, Ocon, Lawson and Behrman are in their own kind of race as it currently stands. Bortoletto is has pulled away from Esteban Ocon, is chasing down the pack of Lance Stroll, Hulkenberg and Antonelli in that fight for P12. Fernando Alonso just dropping off the back of Pierre Gasly as it currently stands, as Piastri goes fastest in the middle sector out of anyone. The top 3 have now pulled out a 5-second gap. A 3.5 second gap over George Russell. That is what it is to George Russell and Oscar Piastri. And Oscar Piastri, interestingly, has got within that 1 second range of Max Verstappen. No DRS available right at this moment as it is a wet circuit. But importantly for Oscar Piastri is that Verstappen is dropping back behind Lando Norris. A 32.4 last time around for Verstappen compared to the 32.1 of Norris, and Piastri is the first driver to get within the 1:31 second range, a 1:31.9 for him. That's a half a second advantage that he's just made on Max Verstappen, and well, we can tell the track is drying because DRS has just now been enabled a bit sooner than I expected, but we now have DRS enabled, and there are 4, yes, you heard it correctly, 4 DRS zones here at the Albert Park circuit. So, Lando Norris, importantly for him, is ahead of Max Verstappen and outside of that 1 second range, and Piastri could be getting past Verstappen sooner rather than later, as Leclerc is told main tyre to cool down his front left. As Leclerc reports too much information, can you leave it to me a bit more? But you can see there Piastri, fastest in the first sector, fastest in the second sector. That DRS indicator is turned on. There's only a handful of drivers here who are actually in the DRS range of their competitors, Hulkenberg, Antonelli, Lawson, and one of them is Oscar Piastri, who is trying to charge down Max Verstappen, who has slightly gained on Lando Norris there, a couple attempts or so into the turn 9 and 10 chicane. But where this Red Bull has struggled all weekend is through the last sector, and this is the sector which is why McLaren were 4 attempts quicker than the rest of the field, and particularly Max Verstappen yesterday in qualifying, as that's a 31.2 for Piastri compared to a 31.5 of Verstappen. A slightly slower lap time from Lando Norris, but he recovered it in the last sector. Max is nearly within that 1 second range of DRS for Lando Norris, and it could get tasty very quickly here at the front of this Grand Prix. Hamilton is now in the DRS of Alex Albon, who has fallen quite some way behind Yuki Tsunoda, it seems. He's just lost half a second that last lap, Alex Albon, with a slight error somewhere, maybe through the last sector, and that's allowed Lewis Hamilton to get within the DRS. So Hamilton eyeing up an overtake on the final Williams, or the lone Williams now, after Sainz crashing out under the safety car on lap 1. Alex Albon in P7. Hamilton, he's just dropped back out of the DRS there through turn 3. He'll be looking to get back in that. Charles Leclerc is being told to look after his tyres already, and well, what are we going to see here, ladies and gentlemen? Because it is, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to just pause my thought process there as Oscar Piastri He's half a second behind Max Verstappen now, but he just drops back in the braking zone of turn 9 and 10. And that's the problem with Max Verstappen, still just close enough to Lando Norris to get the toe. That DRS of Oscar Piastri and McLaren, while it is arguably a superior car at this moment in time, while Max is still getting the toe from Lando Norris, he's not able to make the benefit of it. As Hamilton is saying, let me know where I'm slow, struggling with drivability at the moment. Car is slippery, and they reported turn 11 and turn 12. Those two right-handers where the rear of the car is so important. So Lewis Hamilton struggling a little bit with the balance in his first wet weather race for Ferrari. In his first race for Ferrari, talk about chucking yourself in the deep end, but for a 7-time world champion, you would expect him to be able to handle it. So I expect Hamilton to get stronger as this race progresses. Apologies, but Max Verstappen still within that 1 second range of Lando Norris, just not able to gain that DRS. He's so close to it. He's so close to it. You can see there a fastest first sector for Max Verstappen and a purple sector last time around. And, well, Lando really needs to try and pull away for Max Verstappen here to allow his teammate to get past him. But who would you rather behind you, ladies and gentlemen? Would you rather Max Verstappen behind you if you're Lando Norris? Or would you rather Oscar Piastri, your teammate, who is maybe potentially going to be more aggressive? He's got two very aggressive drivers behind him. Who would you rather prefer? Let me know in chat, guys. Because Lando Norris, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, if he keeps Verstappen behind or lets Piastri, tries to keep Piastri past. But you can see there, he's made a slight mistake and Verstappen is now in that DRS as it currently stands. Max Verstappen has now got that DRS on Lando Norris. So, what are we starting to see here? Are we starting to see the tyres start to fall off in this drying track on the intermediate tyres with potential of rain on the way? But you can see there, Lando supreme in that last sector at the moment. 39.2 compared to a 39.3/4 for Max Verstappen. And that is where Lando Norris is really earning his money right now, is through that last sector. That's where he was strong yesterday. That's where, in comparison, the Red Bull lacked some performance. And, well, you would think that really, as the race progresses, as the track gets drier, you would see that the McLaren would get stronger compared to the Red Bull. As Hamilton is being told you can use K1. As his engineer is telling him a bit too much information. He's had to tell him twice to leave him alone. But another fastest first sector there from Max Verstappen. Piastri just maybe with the double dirty air there of Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, not able to stay that close through the first sector, which is costing him potentially at an overtaking opportunity down into turn 9. But what is definite here, guys, is that the front three are in a league of their own at the moment, as there is now a 9-second gap from the front to George Russell. 10-second apology to George Russell in P4. There is already a 13-second gap from Charles Leclerc in P5, the Ferrari, to Lando Norris in P1. The front three are separated by less than 1.5 seconds, all within DRS of one another, and, well, they are in a league of their own as it currently stands. Lewis Hamilton in DRS of Alex Albon right now. He's getting up close behind Alex Albon. Will he have an opportunity down into turn 11? He's a lot closer than he has been behind the Williams driver as he heads into the corners where he's been told he is losing pace, and, well, no, he's not got an opportunity there. Will we have an opportunity down into turn 1 as we complete the 15th lap of this race onto lap 16 here? 42 laps remaining. It is Lando Norris from Max Verstappen 1 second behind, with Piastri a further 1.8 second, with a further 7 tenths back in the DRS of Max Verstappen. George Russell, as we just mentioned, dropping further and further back lap by lap in these conditions to those front three in P4, 11.5 seconds back. Charles Leclerc is nearly 3 seconds back from George Russell right now as well, being told to manage these tyres. And, well, this is a question. Are the front three going too quickly? They're on intermediate tyres, pushing potentially too hard at this early stage of the race, with maybe rain on the way. But the way that they're going, they could potentially build out a free pit stop for them all by the time that rain eventually arrives, as we do have an overtake on track. We have Antonelli and Bortoletto, we have Antonelli and Hulkenberg side by side, and Antonelli, has he been able to get ahead of Nico Hulkenberg there? I'm just waiting to see the data. It seems to be that any time a driver goes side by side, the data decides to have a bit of go on the fritz. And I think Antonelli did have an opportunity of Nico Hülkenberg there. And, well, Hülkenberg held on to the position. So Antonelli, by the way, being closed down by Bortoleto. Go on, Bortoleto. Esteban Ocon is being chased by Liam Lawson. Lawson struggling to get past Esteban Ocon as it stands, with Behrman struggling in similar conditions to what we saw in Brazil, where that wasn't a very good race for him either. As we can see that Charles Leclerc is losing still more ground to George Russell, 3.2 seconds back now compared to George Russell, who is, 10 seconds further back from Piastri. And what's important here, ladies and gentlemen, is that Lando Norris just turned on the afterburners the last lap. A 29.9 for Lando Norris, which has built out a 2.2 second gap to Max Verstappen. Has he done this to maybe potentially help his teammate? I highly doubt it, but in turn, it has helped his teammate because it means Max Verstappen will not benefit from the tow as sufficiently as he has been. And, well, Piastri, he's 3 tenths back behind Max Verstappen now. He's going to have DRS all the way here, down through turn 9. He's 2 tenths back. Is he going to risk going side by side? And it seems he just had a bit of rear instability there through turn 8, and that dropped from 2 tenths to 4 tenths back on Max Verstappen. He's not going to have an opportunity to go side by side through turn 6. He thinks about it. He holds station, but you can see there 2 seconds back. And Piastri does get past Max Verstappen. Piastri does get past Max Verstappen, and he's into P2. Max Verstappen, a slight error potentially somewhere for him, or did Piastri just send it on Verstappen down into turn 11? The aggressive Australian gets past Max down into turn 11, and we have a front two of Norris and Piastri again. Let's have a look at the replay here to see what happened with Piastri. He's some way back on Max Verstappen. Did he send it, or was it a Max error? It was a rare Max mistake. He locked up and went straight through, was able to control the car. Thankfully, it could have been much worse for Max Verstappen, and Piastri said, thank you very much. And that's why Max Verstappen now struggling on this surface with these tyres. Has he burned too much out of those intermediate tyres on this dry and track surface? You can see on the TV coverage that I have here to my handy side, Max is seeking the wet patches down the start-finish straight. He is starting to struggle on that intermediate tyre. At the moment, it seems the McLarens are the only ones who are really good on their tyres. We can see there Albon, a safety car infringement noted as well, which is about 15 laps ago now, so God knows what happened there, as Lewis Hamilton is also noted for a safety car infringement as well. Well, how have they just only picked these up? Come on, stewards, get with the game. But yes, now with Piastri past Verstappen, that is a Lando Norris P1, Piastri P2, and we can see there that rain is here. Rain is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is rain. You can see there at the top left-hand side of your screen, rain. Yes, track surface slippery in Sector 1, in Sector 13. It is popping up everywhere that rain is here, as Antonelli does get past Nico Hülkenberg. Finally, but here we go. Here we go. Can I restart my data map, please, because it's a few seconds back? I will do. I will restart the track map just to see exactly how we're getting on. You can still see all of the information that is required as we are here. Hopefully that is okay. There we go. Right, so just a quick stop there. FIA stewards, Albon, under investigation. Yes, we've noted that. But Lewis, it's clear in Sector 15, track surface slippery. They can't make their mind up whether or not it's raining or not by the sounds of it, but these drivers are on 18 lap old intermediates right now, and well, they have been on those tyres for those laps in a drying surface, so those tyres will be taking a bit of a pounding. We will see. But Max Verstappen losing a considerable amount of time now. What has he done damage-wise to his tyres? George Russell a 31.7 last time around compared to Max Verstappen, who did a 32.1. The two McLarens lapping in the 30s at the moment, consistent from these two McLarens in this drying track. But is more rain on the way? We will see. But let's have a run down through the grid as it currently stands in this very spread out field. Lando Norris is in P1, Oscar Piastri P2. He lost the position to Max Verstappen on the initial race start, but has now regained it due to an error. as Verstappen is stating, if there's any rain, we might need to pit for new tyres. Bear in mind, we could currently lose positions doing that, is what Verstappen's engineer is reporting to him. We're expecting the weather to start clearing in 10 minutes if you can hold on. So they're not expecting any rain right at this moment in time, as Liam Lawson has got past Esteban Ocon by the sounds of it. Slight delays here in the data that is being displayed. I do apologise. I'm going to restart it once again because I'm not entirely sure. Of course, the data is being transferred all the way, or relayed to us all the way from the... why have I not got... I've lost my track map, unfortunately, for some reason. Bear with me. I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. It is back. It is back. Wouldn't be the Australian Grand Prix without some technical difficulties, eh? Yes, Piastri. Is he getting a move on? A fastest first sector for him. He's gained a considerable amount of time through that first sector on Lando Norris, and he's gained a little bit through the second sector as well. It does seem that the track map is behind compared to the data, so I do apologise. No doubt it will catch up eventually. Aussie netcode, I know. Aussie netcode, unfortunately. But guys, if you are liking this stream, please hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you are enjoying this commentary right now. Lewis Hamilton still within the DRS of Alex Albon, unable to gain any positions as it currently stands. Lando Norris leading from Oscar Piastri. Verstappen in P3 after that mistake down into turn 11. He is struggling on those tyres. What damage has he done due to that lockup? Verstappen in P3, George Russell in P4, but he's 17.8 seconds back from Norris. Norris now has a clear pit stop window to Charles Leclerc. He has nearly got a clear pit stop window to George Russell in P4. This is how good both McLaren drivers are right now. They're in a league of their own in this first race in 2025. Liam Lawson got past Esteban Ocon, as we mentioned earlier, is now in P15. We'll see how he's going to be able to get on in maybe some clean air. Can he catch up Bortoletto? This is now up for him to... We'll keep an eye out on his lap times as he is down in P15. George Russell in P4, as we mentioned. Charles Leclerc P5. Tsunoda in P6, a further 7 seconds back. We've got a massive field spread here with only 21 laps completed. Of course, the majority of them were completed under the safety car. We can see that Hamilton still stuck behind Albon there. Gasly still stuck behind Hamilton as well. He is being chased down by Fernando Alonso. Stroll being chased down by Antonelli, who is up into P12 now. 4 positions gained for Antonelli. Bortoletto chasing down Nico Hulkenberg. The two-stake F1 cars sitting quite pretty in P13 and 14. And Liam Lawson, as we know, got past Esteban Ocon. The two Haas's, who I expected more of at the back of the grid as it currently stands in P16 and P17. And we've lost Sainz, Doohan and Hadjar at the moment. Why is Lewis not pushing? Here, I bet you he's probably trying to push. I think Lewis Hamilton is most definitely trying to push and get past. But Alonso, fastest middle sector for Fernando Alonso. Piastri, a 29.7 last time around. He did make up half a second on his teammate in that last lap. Seems like that they're all trying to hold out right now for the crossover to slicks. That is what the teams are waiting for right now. That is what is the information the engineers are relaying to their drivers. But I'll tell you what, it still looks very wet and windy out there. So is there more rain on the way? Who knows? 36 laps remaining, not even halfway through this race yet. Still a very long way to go. Still lots that can happen in this race, guys. So do definitely stay tuned. Norris would never let anyone take a spot, and Oscar would hate if Norris gave away P1. A matter of pride, dignity, etc. Of course, and you don't give team orders on the first race of the season, even if that first race is one of your driver's home circuits. You just don't do it. So there's no time for sentiment. At the end of the day, let them go racing. That's what we want to see. And, well, if it is going to be a dominant year from McLaren, we need them to be allowed to race, just like we had Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton for those 3 years when they were in a league of their own. But Max Verstappen dropping further back as it currently stands, a 31.1 for him last time around, an 8.8. I do think he's done some damage to his tyres with that lockup down into turn 11. But what I'm really intrigued here is just how big the field spread is here in these conditions. I thought the Ferraris maybe would do a bit better, but evidently not. Yuki Tsunoda's going quite nicely in P6 at the moment. He'll be very happy. 8.8 seconds back from Charles Leclerc, who was able to clear, importantly for him, Albon and Tsunoda at the start of the race. And you can see why that was so important, because look at how Hamilton has just become stuck behind Alex Albon. That Williams as we know, has always been quite difficult to overtake in Alex Albon's hands because Albon is a staunch defender, as Antonelli is making some overtakes, and he has got past Lance Stroll down into turn 11. Antonelli making moves, and he's only 1 place back now. 5 positions gained. He has benefited, of course, from 2 drivers ahead of him. He has benefited from 3 drivers ahead of him retiring from this race, but he is actually making some overtakes out on circuit at the moment and does seem to be really the only driver able to do so. But you would suspect he'd be able to do that in a Mercedes compared to an Aston Martin. As Lewis Hamilton has reported, he's lost gear sync as he is still stuck within the DRS of Alex Albon. So hopefully no mechanical issues there for Lewis Hamilton, and that will sort itself out. He'd like to at least make it to the end of this race, his first race in a Ferrari. I'm still waiting to see. There's no further action, apologies, for all of the safety car infringements that were noted earlier. Alonso, Tsunoda, Albon and Hamilton. So thankfully, no penalties incoming for those drivers. That would have been a real shame for every single one of those involved, who are all within the points as it currently stands. But Oscar Piastri closing down the gap ever so slightly on Lando Norris. 29.7 last time around for him compared to Norris's 29.9. The gap is currently 1.8 seconds. What was the lap times this time around? And, well, yes, sorry, with the track map slightly delayed as it currently stands. That is those lap times that they had. Russell, 30.9 for him. He's still slower than Max Verstappen, who's struggling on that set of tyres. Charles Leclerc really falling off the pace with a 31.5 last time around. And really, it's only the top 4 drivers who are sub 31 seconds. But the McLarens are the only drivers who are in the 29s. And I believe they're the only drivers who have actually lapped in the 29s this race thus far. Because I don't believe, if memory serves me correctly, that Max Verstappen did do that. But as we are approaching the near halfway mark of this race, it is Lando Norris leading from Oscar Piastri, 1.8 seconds. The drivers are holding out on these used intermediate tyres with a very considerably drying track for that crossover period onto slicks. Who is going to pull the trigger first? Who is going to be that guinea pig and go onto those slick tyres first? Will it be the medium or will it be the hard? I'm intrigued to see. I do suspect it'll be the medium compound tyre with the reduction in these track temperatures. We've been used to seeing 40 degrees this weekend, but it's now less than half of that at 19.2. Will they go to the hards or will they go to the mediums? I do suspect the mediums, but time will tell. Piastri still just slightly chipping away at Lando Norris's gap there, a 129.626 compared to 129.687 of Lando Norris. So they're neck and neck, lapping very consistently, the 2 McLaren drivers. But it does seem that Norris has just lost a little bit of time there to Oscar Piastri, who went fastest in the first sector. But Verstappen is in P3, Russell is in P4, Leclerc P5 up 2 positions as mentioned. Tsunoda holding station in P6 in a bit of a world of his own at the moment. We can see Albon all being chased down by Lewis Hamilton. He's had the red Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton and that yellow helmet in his rearview mirrors since the start of this race, and he's doing a very good job in holding him off for P7. Gasly in P9, he's just sitting comfortably within a 3.5 second window behind Lewis Hamilton and Alex Albon, maybe potentially just looking after his tyres on this drying surface. Fernando Alonso's lost a bit of ground on Gasly after he did catch him, and Antonelli is chasing down Gasly and Alonso. Lapping in the 130s at the moment, Antonelli, he smells blood. Already gained a couple of positions out on track. Lance Stroll in P12. Hulkenberg up 4 positions into P13. Bortoletto in 14th. Liam Lawson struggling with time at the moment. As Leclerc is reporting, is there a leakage? A leakage of what? I have a seat full of water. Like full of water, Charles Leclerc is reporting. He has a bit of a wet bottom, it seems. So, must be the water. Let's add that to the words of wisdom. Was reported back from Charles Leclerc. But Oscar Piastri, he has taken 4 tenths out of Lando Norris in that last lap. Oscar Piastri is on a charge, ladies and gentlemen. He is on a charge. I am just going to restart this track map once more and see if we can get the data and track map to sync up. Hopefully, we will be able to. I'm not entirely sure we will, but we will keep trying nonetheless. As long as we still have the data available, that is what matters. But Lando Norris, yes, being chased down from Oscar Piastri. It seems like it's still quite far behind, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise. Bear with me just 2 seconds. I am going to restart, and it will take literally just 2 seconds. I'm going to restart the data because this is frustrating, ladies and gentlemen. This is very frustrating. Let me just do this. We'll get this back up. and hopefully everything will be a-okay. God, why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long? What is going on here? What is going on here? Oh no, what have I done? Bear with me, bear with me. Oh, fucked it. Oh, fucked it. Apologies. Let me just restart multi-view. Technical issue. Technical issue. It's on the live timing. Is it wrong as well? For some reason, it now wants to install an update. Oh, for God's sake, what is going on here? Skip checking for updates. Yep, go away. Go away, please. Right, bear with me, guys. I am just coming back here right now. I'm sure it will come up. I'm sure it will come up. Technical issue here, guys. There we go. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. There we go. There we go. We're all good. We're all good. Normal service resumed. Normal service resumed. Apologies for that. If is it everywhere else that's having the same issue? If it is, then it's just it's nothing that's out of my control. It's stuff that is out of my control, unfortunately. It does seem like, but yes, it is out of my control. So apologies. There we go. So yeah, we do have all the live timings. It does seem like that the data is just slightly ahead of the track map. It's out of my control and seems to be data from the seems to be an issue of the data being relayed from the F1 data. So I don't think it's just myself. So apologies for that. But hopefully it will sync up eventually, as it has done in the past. But Oscar Piastri cutting down that time to Lando Norris now. 129.1 for him. Max Verstappen falling further to the wayside here. I cannot believe the gap that the McLarens are pulling out on the rest of the field as it currently stands. What an absolute drive this is and performance from the two McLarens. A 29.0 for Oscar Piastri on Lando Norris right now. And well, you can see that Oscar Piastri is just outside that DRS, and Lando Norris, will he pull the trigger first potentially on a pit stop? He is out there first. He should get the rub of the green and get that priority of that first pit stop. Or is Lando just covering Piastri off at the moment and just trying to look after his tyres and not take too much out of him? And Oscar Piastri is on the full attack, understandably, to try and put his teammate under pressure. But they are approaching the two Haases to lap them, as Ocon and Behrman have really struggled in this race. They are lapping in the mid-32s compared to everyone else ahead of them, who are lapping over a second quicker. Liam Lawson, 31.1 for him at the moment. He seems to be quite some way off the pace of Max Verstappen, around a second and a half per lap as it currently stands, or just over a second per lap at the moment. As Lewis Hamilton not getting a bit upset. I mean, he's not working with Bono now. Lewis Hamilton getting a bit upset with the information, or too much information being relayed to him from his new engineer at Ferrari. So yes, Lewis Hamilton missing Bono, it seems. Clear and concise instructions, please. The Ferrari engineer. As look at that now. Wow. Oscar Piastri, a 28.6 compared to Lando Norris's 29. And well, he is within DRS now of Lando Norris. You can see the DRS indicator is open as Lando Norris is starting to approach the two Haas cars. And well, we will have to keep an eye on the data first, because unfortunately the track map is just a few corners behind when it comes to syncing up with the live data. But at least we are able to see something here as Ollie Behrman has waved the blue flag against Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who are very fast approaching. But I cannot believe the drop-off in performance of Verstappen compared to these two McLarens, considering he was fighting them for so long. How much of an issue has that mistake cost him as he headed down into turn 11, as Kimi Antonelli is all over the back of Fernando Alonso as well. He is trying to make moves there. It looks like they went side by side through turn 11, and this data is really starting to get on my nerves. I do apologise, guys, but I believe it is the same everywhere else at the moment. It is F1's issue transporting this data all the way from the other side of the world. as Ollie Bearman is lapped by the two McLarens, and that is halfway. Are we halfway through this race just yet? 29. We're nearly halfway through this race, and well, Ollie Bearman has just been lapped, and Esteban Ocon is getting the blue flags waved at him as well. He is also about to be lapped. So the two McLarens in a league of their own at the moment, 16, 17 seconds. The McLarens have nearly got a free pit stop to Max Verstappen, and we're not even halfway through this race just yet. That is unbelievable performance for these two cars, and it's ominous for the rest of the season and the rest of the field. But Oscar Piastri trying to utilise, of course, Norris trying to get past Esteban Ocon, did get within 3 tenths there of his teammate as they headed down into the first corner. So Oscar Piastri chomping at the bit to try and overtake his teammate, 2 tenths faster last time around. Well, this is the most action-packed battle on screen right now as Lewis Hamilton. I don't have much faith that he's going to be able to overtake Alex Albon as it currently stands, because he's been behind Nat Williams for the last 28 laps in the DRS. But Max Verstappen, the fastest first sector for him, which is interesting. But when are they going to change to these slick tyres? We are approaching the halfway mark here, and they have done a considerable amount of time on these intermediates. But I guess what happens with the intermediate tyres is that if you run them for so long, they do eventually go bald, and you turn them from an intermediate wet tyre to a slick tyre, a la what Lewis Hamilton did in Turkey, Istanbul, all those years ago. As Piastri is told to hold position right now. Piastri has been told to hold position right now until they get to the crossover period onto dryers. Piastri said, okay, I'm faster, but we'll do it. So they are holding position right now. They wanted to clear the back markers and get through unscathed. And then once they get over onto the slick tyres, they're free to go racing again. So that is what is occurring right now with the two McLarens. When is that crossover period happening? Surely it is soon. There is a clear and evident dry line that has formed, but what is it like off track? Oscar Piastri is still very slick off track, and this is the problem, is that it is going to make overtaking very difficult. While there is a dry line, there are still areas of this circuit where it is slippery. And, well, it's going to make overtaking very, very risky. And most of the overtakes are going to be done in the pit stops, it seems, as the conditions are as they currently are. They're seeking wet patches at the moment, the two McLarens, trying to cool off their tyres as best as they can. But how long until we get to the dryers? It can't be that much longer. But it's risky. It's very risky as it currently looks, guys. Even in DRS, can't Ferrari pull closer to Merc? The Merc PU is superior. Yeah, it's true. I think it's also just the nature of Albert Park. It's always been very difficult to overtake here, even with DRS. Because as Hamilton is being told to use K1 just for practice, and Hamilton's like, I'm not close enough. I presume that is an overtake button. As you can see there, Oscar Piastri has just dropped back to 1 second as he's been told to hold position for now until they reach that crossover period. But Yuki Tsunoda is really starting to fall off. He had a bit of a poor lap last time, actually. I say really fall off with his tyres. He did have a poor lap last time around, a 1:30.1, and that's allowed Alex Albon to close into within 1.5 seconds of the RB driver. Lewis Hamilton just, unable to gain on Alex Albon, but it's not really been a good day at the office for either of the two Ferrari drivers. Hamilton's pace isn't actually that far off of Charles Leclerc, who is in P5 and in clean air. So the Ferraris just are not at the races compared to the McLarens, and let's be honest, no one is at the races compared to the McLarens because they're in a league of their own. The only driver who took them made them think for a little bit is Max Verstappen, who had a wobble of his own and has suffered from then on since, and is now 15 seconds back from Oscar Piastri. He's 17.4 seconds back, 17.6 seconds back from Lando Norris, and Lando Norris nearly only one more second more, and he will have a free pit stop over Max Verstappen in P3. That is unbelievable, with us reaching the halfway mark. Is it dry enough to go to slicks? What do I think, Scott? I think it's risky to do so. turn 6 in particular, which is why Oscar Piastri has just fallen back from Lando Norris. Turn 6 in particular, there is a very big patch in the dip through that corner. That corner alone, which is where Oscar Piastri just had a big wobble, and which is why he's now 2.4 seconds back from his teammate. That corner alone would put me off going on to slicks right now. And I think that's probably what the team are looking at this moment in time. As Liam Lawson is lapped by Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. So Liam Lawson in his first F1 race for Red Bull at a circuit he's never driven before has been lapped. I can hear the tequila bottle being opened or being poured right now by Sergio Perez as he's just witnessed Liam Lawson be lapped. Honestly, it doesn't matter if Oscar is falling behind, has to wait for Lando to pit first anyway. Exactly. But I guess the thing is for Oscar Piastri is that he doesn't want to drop too far behind Lando Norris. He has just got stuck behind Liam Lawson briefly, and that gap has gone out to 3 seconds because at the moment he knows that he can go racing after. Oh, sorry. He knows he can go racing once they get onto slick tyres, but you can't be dropping 3.5 seconds back behind your teammate as it currently stands, because Lando will just drive off into the distance and you won't be able to close that gap, and Lando will just be able to manage it. But Alonso, at this moment in time, as we've just gone past the halfway mark in this race, Antonelli, there's a yellow flag. What is there a yellow flag for? Who has gone off? What has happened through turn 8? There's a yellow flag. What has occurred there? Safety car. What has happened? Alonso's in the wall. Oh dear, the track map is delayed. This has thrown a real spanner in the works to this race. The track map is slightly delayed, so I do apologise, but Fernando Alonso has taken a massive hit there into the wall, and well, the McLarens have just gone past the pit stop there. It is a safety car. Who will dive into the pits? Who will make advantage of this? Are they going to put on new tyres? Are they going to put on slicks? Tsunoda's in the pits. You can see Albon's in the pits. Hamilton's in the pits. Gasly's in the pits. And whoa, what has happened there to Fernando Alonso? Unbelievable crash there from him. That's very unlike Fernando Alonso. But I did mention that turn 6, there was a puddle that was considerably forming through the dip there. And as these intermediate tyres are starting to become less and less tread, they're not an intermediate anymore. They're almost transitioning to a slick tyre. We started to see some more wobbles from the drivers through that corner. And that is exactly what we've just seen there from Fernando Alonso. I presume, as I'm waiting to see a replay, that he has hit that patch of water and lost control of the car, evidently, into the wall. Very uncharacteristic of Fernando Alonso, and that's what I'm presuming is going to happen. But yes, this is... apologies. That has massively flipped this race on its head as it currently stands. Where will this... So, the order will be... So, they've gone on to slicks. Wow, drivers on the slick tyres. They are risking it. It doesn't seem like there's any more rain forecast at the moment, but it is risky here. This is going to be... How many laps we're going to have under the safety car, we don't know. So, the tyres are not going to be up to temperature. Max has gone onto the mediums, which could be an absolute blinder here. We have mentioned that the hard compound tyre has been the better race tyre through practice, but that's in 40-degree track temperature. We don't have that here today. We have 19-degree track temperature. We're in a complete unknown as it currently stands, and the medium compound tyre could be the better tyre to make it to the end of this race. It could be quicker to warm up. It could last longer, and the hard compound tyre just may never get into that peak performance window. There's a real mixture of decisions here. Lawson on the medium as well. The two Stake F1 cars on the mediums. We can see Albon is on the mediums. That could be a blinder from him, but time will tell. And also, it's going to be tricky to overtake. You may be quicker, but it's going to be super risky to try and make an overtake on the wet surface that is still there off of the racing line, off of that dry line. I'm still yet to see a replay from Fernando Alonso's crash, so we will wait and see exactly what happened there. But guys, if you are enjoying this stream, please hit that like and subscribe button. It'd be much appreciated. We are trying to hit 40,000 subs. I know that we've had plenty of subscribers today, so a big thank you. And I do apologise if I haven't been able to get through to all of you. And, of course, the chat as well. I've seen the chat going very, very quickly and moving very fast. Of course, I'm just focusing on trying to provide a job for you here, commentary. While we do have, unfortunately, the track map is delayed. I do apologise, it's out of my control. We have restarted the data a couple of times, and it seems that it is an issue on F1's end. Still waiting to see a replay of Fernando Alonso's crash, so I do hope he's okay. It's a fair old whack into the wall there. It's one of the fastest sections on the track. And, well, it's where George Russell, of course, lost control of the car last year. It's where Alex Albon lost control of the car. And Fernando Alonso has gone into that wall. But I'm still yet to see a replay of what happened. What tyre is Yuki on? Yuki is on, well, yes, that's a very good question. He's the only driver out there. We don't know who's on a tyre. So we'll see. Lawson just dead last. Yuki looking pretty damn good. Yeah. Look, it's not been a good weekend for Liam Lawson. But who predicted we would have 4 cars out? Fernando Alonso is out of the car, ladies and gentlemen. So Fernando Alonso is okay. Still yet to see an actual replay of the incident itself, though. So I'm not entirely sure what occurring there. Yes, so still not sure what's occurring there. I do believe we do have someone from the Missed Apex podcast down at turn 6. So we'll see if... Right, here we go. Replay. Fernando Alonso through turn 6. What happened? So... Oh, he just spins on the curb. He just dips. Oh, wow. So he just puts his left front on the curb and the car just goes. But it's odd, though, because everyone else is doing the same thing. I wonder if it's the rear tyre that was the issue, not the front tyre. Everyone else is touching the curb the same way, but I wonder if his rear tyre touches the white line and not the actual curb itself, which causes the spin and the crash. So just really unfortunate there for Fernando Alonso, but that is the fine margins of F1, ladies and gentlemen, especially in these conditions. Very, very slightly, yeah. Maybe it was the front right. I don't know. You just hit the curb at the wrong angle and your race is over and done with. I know that all too well in sim racing. But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. Over 7,000 concurrent viewers right now. It is Lando Norris. We have a safety car here. 21 laps remaining in this race. It is Lando Norris leading from Oscar Piastri. Recovery vehicle is on track. We're going to have a safety car here for a good few laps while that Aston Martin is removed. Lando Norris is in P1 from Oscar Piastri, who are both transitioned onto the hard compound tyre. Max Verstappen, who has another stab at it here after really losing a lot of his performance in that intermediate tyre early on, has a saving grace here of being bunched back behind the McLarens, but will he be able to utilise those medium compound tyres compared to the hards that the Norris and Piastri are on, and just even handle the pace that the McLaren has showed here today? George Russell is in P4. He has another stab at it as well, as his race was becoming a bit of a no man's land, as was Charles Leclerc, who is in P5. Yuki Tsunoda is in P6. He is on the medium compound tyre. Alex Albon is on the medium as well in P7. Lewis Hamilton is on the hard compound tyre. He has an opportunity to try and leapfrog Albon at the start, who he has just looked at the rear wing of that Williams for the duration of this race. Pierre Gasly is in P9. Antonelli doing a good job up into P6. Hang on, Piastri ready? Oh, they reckon there could be some very intense rain for a single lap. He's being informed to Piastri around lap 41 to 45. For a single lap, there could be some intense rain. Interesting, very interesting. That is what has been reported to Oscar Piastri. We will see. Right, safety, yes, running through the grid once again. As I just heard that message, we got to Antonelli, who is in P10. He's up 6 positions and is now in the points after starting down in 16th place earlier on. Has benefited from 4 retirements though, but he has made some overtakes out on track. One of the few drivers to do so. Lance Stroll was in P11. There's so Aston Martin out there now. Nico Hulkenberg in P12. Bortoletto in P13. Ocon in P14. Behrman 15th and Lawson in 16th. I'll tell you what, the clouds look very large. Very large? They are large. The clouds look very dark in the distance on the TV coverage right now as well. So yes, you can see on the TV coverage it is raining in the distance. So they are expecting rain within the next few laps, or within really the next kind of few minutes. And everyone's on slicks. Oh my goodness. We could see carnage here. If we haven't seen carnage already, we could see carnage even more so with everyone on slicks right now. Oh, God. Here we go. Here we go. Thank you, Oxford. Thanks for my hard work. This has been awesome to listen to while I watch the race from the driver's point of view. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I do apologise, but the track map seems to be just suffering today. I'm going to restart it once again, ladies and gentlemen. Just so... I mean, it just seems to be so delayed today. I just think we're just going to have to suffer with the track map being slightly delayed today. It's something that is out of my control. But yeah, I do hope you've been enjoying this stream, guys, and been enjoying this watch along. If you can hit that like and subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. We're nearly at 36,000 subs. Go on, you can do it. I would also like to say everyone who keeps continuing to tune back into these streams. I do see the analytics, the figures, and the percentage of you who keep coming back is very high. So that's so important for myself to know that you are enjoying the content, that you want to keep coming back. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're nearly at 1,000 likes as well. Go on, hit that like button and get this stream to over 1,000 likes. 932 as I'm currently looking at it, as we have our second safety car of today. And well... There's a reason why Albert Park doesn't get a lot of rain. It has an absolute causes absolute carnage here. The drivers and the teams just don't expect it, especially at the first race of the season. Of course, we head to China next week, a sprint race weekend where, of course, we'll be live for every practice session. Another early one, not as early as we've experienced this weekend, though. Thankfully, I don't have to do that again until Vegas at the end of the year in November. So, yes. This is going to be intriguing. We are expecting a high intensity amount of rain for a very short amount of time, and everyone's out there on slick tyres. What is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Not long to go. Not long to go. Over 1,000 likes. Woo! Thank you, guys, and all the subscribers coming in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. When will lap cars be allowed to overtake? That is a good question. Not yet, because lap cars are able to go quicker. So they're still clearing Fernando Alonso's car from what I can see on the TV coverage. So it's not safe to do so right now. Thank you, Kimberly. Thanks for subscribing. Why is Bortoletto still out front? Because he needs to unlap himself. He will do. He will do. They will do at some point. So been watching since 23. Ah. Wow, thank you. Ocon is saying, I don't know why we're still doing this. They're still on intermediates. That's a fair point, and he's on 33 lap old intermediates as well. So, yeah. Lapped means, if you're unaware what lap means, it means that the leaders have overtaken you. They've done a lap. You're a lap behind. So the leaders have done one more lap than you. That's how slow you are. Being lapped is not a good thing. It shows that you're slow. Fresta said, thank you. 3 months of joining the pit crew. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Hope you've been enjoying the stream. The likes and the subscribers clearly indicates that, so thank you. Right. Not long to go, guys. Not long to go here. Not long to go. Come on. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? There's still carnage in this race for me. There's still carnage in this race. Haas taking a gamble when you're back, you can. True, true. Ollie Behrman's on at least newer intermediates, that's for sure. Thank you for the stream. I was watching F1 too, and you froze. Still is frozen. I found my stream. Thank you, man. Yeah, I think there's just been an issue with the data that has been sent from us, or sent to us from, of course, sent to us, sorry, from across the other side of the world. So what is going to happen here? What is going to happen? Just taking a break in the action, guys. Just collecting my thoughts. Hope you're good. My stream is a few seconds extra delayed. There we go. Lap cars can now be overtaken. Come on. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. So we can't be long now until we get underway. So maybe not. Maybe next lap? Or no, they have to wait for cars to get back. So maybe at the end. Maybe at the back. Maybe 2 more laps. 2 more laps, maybe. Maybe 2 more laps. What's my name? Scott. Sean? Sorry, my name is Scott. There we go. That's all you need to know. Thank you, Alonso, for ruining the race. I don't think it's ruined the race. I don't think it has. I think it's actually made it quite intriguing. I think Piastri actually was starting to fall back, and the race had kind of petered out a little bit with the gaps that we saw being formed. So at least now we're going to get a battle at the front again. And Max Verstappen is on the softer medium tyre as well, with only 18 laps remaining. The question is that hard tyre compound going to be able to be switched on quick enough? We will see. Hang on, weather update. Okay, so they're now... They're expecting rain. Oh, I tell you what. If someone dips into the pits now and gambles for intermediates, you could be onto a winner. You could be onto a winner. They're now changing the forecast and saying that the forecast could be longer than what they were predicting and could be sooner. Ocon's gone on to slicks. As Lando was asking about the intermediate, and they rightfully so came back and said to him, we don't want to put on the wrong tyre before the conditions arrive. So everyone's on slicks now. I'm surprised no one's gambling here right now. I'm really surprised no one's taking a gamble. I mean, if your safety car is going to be at the end of this lap, but I'm really surprised no one towards the back is deciding to take a gamble. We'll see. We will see. Unsafe release is being noted between Bortoleto and Lawson, which is a shame. Rain in 7 minutes is what has just been popped up on the TV screens for us. But yes. Safety car in this lap. What is going to happen? It's still slippery off the racing line, ladies and gentlemen. So anyone tries to make an overtake here, it's going to be super risky. There's still a lot of risk involved here, being on the slick tyres. So yeah, it's going to be really intriguing here. I'm predicting that this safety car is going to be out sooner rather than later. Again. I think it's going to be out pretty quickly. But we'll see. We'll see as Behrman is unlapping himself as it currently stands. And hopefully the track map is kind of in sync-ish with what we are seeing right now with the intervals. And the data. It's been slightly behind through the majority of it, so I'll keep an eye out for you on what is going to happen as the safety car is about to come into the pit lane as Lando Norris backs up the pack. Behrman, Ocon, Bortoleto and Lawson are trying to catch the back of the pack, but it's not going to be feasible for them by the time this race gets back underway. Well, Lando Norris, when is he going to go? When is he going to decide to go? Has to wait until the safety car crosses the pit lane exit line, and he's gone now. Lando goes a little bit earlier than he did last time around, which was out of turn 13. This time he's gone out of turn 12. It is Norris from Piastri, from Verstappen. Who's going to be brave? Who's going to be bold? Down into turn 1. Will it be anyone? Or will they just hold station while these track conditions are still slippery out of off the racing line? It does seem the track map has now slightly synced up, and as I say that, it delays itself once again. But it is Lando Norris from Oscar Piastri, from Verstappen, from George Russell, and it seems that no one has decided to take the initiative and be able to get close enough to make an overtake. It is only 1 lap until we wait for the DRS to be activated again, so next time around, when they cross the checkered flag, cross the start-finish line, they will have DRS enabled. And well, importantly for Lando Norris, he is already, I was about to say he's already ahead of Oscar Piastri and out of that DRS zone. George Russell definitely has fallen behind Verstappen and Piastri and Lando Norris. He's struggling to switch on that hard compound tyres instantly, it seems. But Max Verstappen on the medium. How well is that medium going to last? The question is also, when is the rain going to arrive? Making a pit stop at the right moment is going to be of course, really super important and could win or make or break your race here today for many a driver up and down this grid. I'm still surprised no one's decided to gamble onto the intermediates, but maybe I guess 7 minutes is a bit too long to run on intermediate tyres. But Lewis Hamilton is still chasing down Alex Albon. The rear wing of that Williams is going to haunt him in his dreams later on this evening. 3 laps, rain expected, lasting for 2 laps is what is being reported to Charles Leclerc at the moment. Class 3. I don't know if Class 3 is heavy or not, but I am going to presume it is heavy. DRS enabled, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Lando Norris leading from Oscar Piastri, and that is an unbelievable race restart for Lando Norris. He has pulled out 1.6 seconds on his teammate here. Importantly, got out of the DRS, and well, he has definitely switched on those hard compound tyres much better than those behind him. Max Verstappen, 1.1 seconds behind Oscar Piastri, and it seems Lando is just pulling out that gap on Oscar Piastri right now in supreme fashion. He is pulling out multiple tenths of a second every corner he goes through at the moment. He has definitely switched on those hard compound tyres better than his teammate. Also, Max Verstappen 1 second behind Piastri. The top 5 are not within DRS of each other. Tsunoda has DRS on Leclerc. Albon has DRS on Tsunoda. Albon chomping at the bit to try and get past the RB car, who had pulled away quite considerably from him earlier on in the race. He is looking for a P6 finish here. Hamilton in DRS, but back to 1 second behind Alex Albon and Tsunoda on the mediums. Maybe this could work out for him if the hard compound tyre decides to be the better race tyre and the mediums start to fall off towards the end of this race. If, of course, that is without the rain's interruption. Hamilton could benefit here. Gasly in P9. Antonelli as Tsunoda gets past Charles Leclerc. What has happened here? Charles Leclerc has had an off, it seems, and Tsunoda has got past Charles Leclerc and is into P5. Unbelievable. What has happened there? Charles Leclerc has a wobble through the middle chicane, and it seems like Lando Norris has reported that the rain could be here next lap. It is raining a little bit in the pit lane as it currently stands, and this rain is right about to arrive. Who is going to pull the trigger first and go on to the intermediates? It could be a masterstroke, but it also could be a very severe mistake. We will see. Antonelli in P10 trying to chase down Pierre Gasly. Hamilton seems to be close to Albon, and it seems Charles Leclerc is struggling a little bit. There is now a conscious pack there between Yuki Tsunoda for P5, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, and Lewis Hamilton. I'm not entirely sure what happened with Yuki Tsunoda and Charles Leclerc. Maybe Charles Leclerc had a wobble out of turn 6, like we've seen many drivers do today. Of course, Fernando Alonso mostly sticking it into the barriers. And there's a 5-second time penalty for Bortoleto, unfortunately, for an unsafe release. That's a shame for Bortoleto. He is down in 14th at the moment, but it's not going too well for him. Liam Lawson seems to be getting up to pace, it seems, pretty quickly there. A 22.9 for him last time around. That was a pretty decent lap. As Tsunoda locked up earlier on, and well, it's Tsunoda from Leclerc for P5, Albon in P7, Hamilton in P8, and they're all within DRS of each other there. And well, Tsunoda's now within DRS of George Russell, as Verstappen is into... What has happened here? Why is the data on the fritz? There's a yellow flag. What has happened here? Oscar Piastri is falling down the pack. Oh, what has happened to Oscar Piastri? Is Norris off? Is Piastri off? What has happened? What am I seeing? Norris is into the pit lane. I'm really confused with what's happening right now. Apologies, I'm trying to get my bearings, and I think Piastri has gone off. Piastri has gone off and is down into P14. Norris, did he spin? Did Norris spin? What has happened here? I am so confused with what has happened. Lando Norris is now onto the intermediate tyres. And yes, Lando Norris lost control of the car. He's Tokyo drifting. Oscar Piastri lost control of the car. He's Tokyo drifting. Lando Norris went off. It's raining. Max is out there at the moment. Piastri is gone. The home driver has gone off. It is raining. It is slippery. Lando might have just saved his race here. Lando might have just saved his race by coming into the pits and controlling the car when he did, but Piastri is out of this race. Unbelievable turn of events here, and Yuki Tsunoda is currently in P2, but how long will he last? Russell might have pulled an absolute blinder. Anyone on the intermediate tyres now may be absolutely loving it, as it's treacherous in that last sector. We've seen the drivers go off. Yellow flag there for Ollie Behrman, it seems. I think Oscar Piastri's actually got going again. Oscar Piastri has got going again, but his race is pretty much over and done with here. Is Max Verstappen going to stay out there? Max Verstappen is still out there on the mediums. If he wins this race, Lewis Hamilton is in P2 as well. Is Lando Norris going to stay out there on the intermediates? He is indeed. This race has flipped on its head. How much is it raining? We do not know. Oscar Piastri was all over the place, by the way. He was on a proper excursion. But it is Max Verstappen leading from Lewis Hamilton in P2. In all of that furore, he has got past Alex Albon, who's pitted onto intermediates. He has got past Yuki Tsunoda as well, who pitted onto a new set of mediums. Tsunoda's gone on to mediums. Who has called it correctly? Who has called it absolutely wrong? Norris could have thrown this race away here, or McLaren could have done, by maybe jumping the gun and going on to the intermediate tyres. Max has stayed on the mediums. Hamilton stayed on the hards. Gasly stayed on the hards as well. And well, with 12 laps remaining, I seriously don't know what is happening right now. How this race has just completely turned on its head. Maybe was that a panic decision by those changing onto the intermediate tyres? Charles Leclerc's just set the fastest middle sector out of anyone. This is crazy. This is crazy right now. As Tsunoda jumps down to P5 as Charles Leclerc gets past him. And well, it could be a double podium for Ferrari as it currently stands. I guess the question is how treacherous. Verstappen reporting the rain is coming here now. We need to make a decision. So no, the intermediate tyre is the correct choice, it seems. As Verstappen is diving into the pit lane, Lewis Hamilton continues. They maybe think that they can manage the they think that maybe they can manage the hard compound tyre as it currently stands. But wow, I really don't know what the order is as it currently stands, as apparently the track map has gone on the fritz. They don't know where anyone else is out on track at the moment. It is Hamilton from Leclerc in P1 and P2. But no, on the intermediate tyre now, Lando Norris has just regained P2 from Charles Leclerc. And I do think, actually, the intermediate tyre is the correct decision, as there's a yellow flag for Bortoletto at the back. And I think Bortoletto's gone off. It's a double yellow. He's got going again. He's done a Piastri, he's done a Norris in the last sector, and I think really that is where it is treacherous. No, looking at the TV coverage, it is most definitely an intermediate tyre right now from what I'm seeing. It is raining, DRS has been disabled, and that is an indication. Oh, it's tipping it down in the pit lane. It is absolutely tipping it down in the pit lane. There's a safety car! I've called it as another safety car, and well, Lando Norris has regained the lead on the intermediate tyres. Liam Lawson, it looks like, has crashed into exactly where Isaac Hadjar crashed as well. He was on a set of medium compound tyres. He couldn't pit because of Max Verstappen in the pit lane. But Liam Lawson, who was promoted into the points, was what is occurring here? I guess the question is now, will Hamilton and Leclerc be able to pit sufficiently onto those intermediate tyres? As Lawson has gone into the barrier backwards. He's done a Hadjar at the start of this race. Bortoletto's also out of this race. They're falling like dominoes at the moment. We've lost 6 cars. We've lost 6 cars. This is unbelievable here at the closing stages of this race. The weather has caused absolute carnage here. Unfortunately for Oscar Piastri, he is nowhere near the points. Lando Norris has regained the lead. He was able to, thankfully, just keep control of the car enough to dive into the pit lane and pit onto intermediates at the right time. We did predict this would cause absolute carnage with just a couple of laps. Oh my God, I'm trying to get my thought process here and just understand exactly what's happened. So Hamilton and Leclerc are in P4 and P5 as it stands, but they're on the intermediates. Where? Oh my God, they've just thrown away. Oh my God, they've just thrown away points here. Oh my God, what have Ferrari done? What have Ferrari just done? What have Ferrari just done? Guys, what have Ferrari just done? They've held them out there for too long, and they're now in P9 and P10. Ferrari, it's the first race of the year. Can you just not be Ferrari for the first race of the year, please? What? Why are you doing that? Why, Ferrari? Please explain. How are you now 9th and 10th? Why did you keep the drivers out there for so long? That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Well, I tell you what, now everyone's behind the safety car, we can take stock and we can actually see what has happened here in this race. With 10 laps remaining, it could be 5 laps, 6 laps by the time we get racing again. Let's take stock here, guys, and have a look at exactly what is occurring. So, Lando Norris pitted at the right moment. He was able to control the car, unlike his teammate. They hit the rain shower as it was coming down into the last couple of corners, and that's what caught them out, and many other drivers as well. And well, Oscar Piastri, while he was doing pirouettes in the grass and Tokyo drifting, Lando was able to drift it into the pit lane and just about get onto those intermediate tyres at the right time. It is Lando from Max Verstappen in P2, and well, we know how Max was strong on that intermediate tyre at the start of the race. Max, who was actually a pit stop behind the McLarens at the middle part of this race until the rain started coming, till that safety car from Fernando Alonso, is now got an opportunity to steal this race win away from Lando Norris. George Russell is in P3. How he's made his way up into P3. He's had a very lonely race and he's now in the podium positions. George Russell, we know that he likes to just mind his own business. And look, at the end of the day, how many times has he won races now where he has just been nowhere at the races and he ends up capitalising on others' mistakes? There's still there's still a possibility that Russell could win this race. There's a possibility that Alex Albon could win this race. In P4 at the moment, Alex Albon. The biggest earner in all of this, though, is Kimi Antonelli. Up 11 positions in P5 in his first race in the Mercedes. Unbelievable strategy decision there by Mercedes to gain so many positions. Lance Stroll is in P6. This is how crazy this race is right now if you're just tuning in or waking up this morning, guys. Hulkenberg, P7. He's up P7. He's up 10 positions. That's looking very good for my that's looking very good for my fantasy team, actually. Nico Hulkenberg scoring points here today. Pierre Gasly is only up 1 position, bless him, in P8. You feel like he's done nothing wrong today, Pierre Gasly, and he finds himself in P8. Only 1 position gained. Ferrari have just Ferrari'd in P9 and P10. Tsunoda's also been screwed over as well by being left out there for too long, like the Ferraris, and he's down in P11. Actually, no, sorry, not screwed over. They put him onto, well, he has been screwed over because they put him onto the medium tyres when he should have gone onto intermediates. I don't know what they were doing there, RB, by putting Tsunoda onto mediums. I'd be fuming if I was Yuki. Ocon is up into P12. Piastri, as we know, is just like, yeah. Unfortunately, this race has disappeared for him. He's in P13, can still maybe sneak some points. And P14 is Behrman. Oh, there we go. Hamilton is told, you said it wasn't going to rain much. And they're back in P9 and P10. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. when Hamilton went, what position am I in now? And they told him, and all I heard was bleeps. I think Lewis Hamilton may be getting a few £1,000s of fines. Who would have thought Lewis Hamilton would be the first driver to receive the fine for swearing? Because that was a lot of bleeps we just heard there from Lewis Hamilton. And understandably so. Ferrari in P9 and P10. I don't know why they didn't pit a bit earlier. You look at Verstappen, he pitted at the right time. Hang on, just watching Charles Leclerc. Oh, Charles Leclerc and Tsunoda made contact a couple of times. But why did they not pit them when Max did? Max was ahead. They should have pitted exactly at the same time as Max. And Max is in P2 now, and Ferrari are down in P9 and P10. They could be in the top 5 right now. Both drivers. Unbelievable. But yes, I imagine the safety car is going to... So there's only one driver who's lapped, which is Ollie Behrman. And, well, that normally indicates that we've got one more lap. So, yes, we should have 6 laps of racing, guys. 6 laps of racing. The rain is gone. Yes, the rain has gone. As you can see at the top left-hand corner of your screen there, rain is no. But guys, just want to say a big thank you for everyone for tuning in. If you're enjoying this stream, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get this stream to over... Oh, it's nearly 9... There's over 9,000 of you in here. So yeah, big thank you. Over 9,000. Yes, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back, of course, for China next week, which also could have rain as well. We've seen rain in China in many a year, and it's a sprint race weekend, the first of the year. But what a end to this very a topsy-turvy Australian Grand Prix. It's normally a race that kind of becomes a bit of a damp squib. It becomes a bit boring. It's tricky to overtake. We have seen it still be tricky to overtake here today, even with these treacherous conditions. But what it has provided us with is carnage and unpredictability. And I guess the only predictable nature of this race has really been Lando Norris leading from the front. But can he hold off Max Verstappen, who was very quick at the start of the race on the intermediate tyres in wet conditions? We will see. We will see. But Max Verstappen in P2 right now, which wasn't looking to be the case, nabbing an extra position because of Piastri's mistake there at the end, or in that last period. So we will see. Ferrari really have fumbled it, though. Ferrari, I just can't get over Ferrari. I mean, you're about to let a stake F1 car and Lance Stroll beat you. You're about to let Antonelli, who started in P16, beat you. Unbelievable. But there could still be carnage here with 6 laps remaining, ladies and gentlemen. I imagine the safety car is going to be in this lap. 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go. There couldn't be more drama, could there? There couldn't be more. It's the first race of 2025, for God's sake. We've got 23 more race weekends to go, guys. Oh my goodness. Safety car is indeed in this lap. Buckle in, guys. Buckle in. Here we go. Here we go. What happened to Oscar Piastri? Well, Oscar Piastri him and Lando Norris caught a patch of rain in the last couple of corners, and Oscar Piastri went off and decided to start cutting grass. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri both went off at turn 11. Where Lando Norris was able to control the car and stay on track and go into the pits, Piastri wasn't, and he lost control of the car. But, right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. How is Lando Norris going to manage this? He's managed the 2 safety car restarts very well thus far. The second one was beautiful. He pulled out such a great gap on his teammate. But it is a pressure moment time here as, Oscar Piastri. Was it? Sorry, not Oscar Piastri. What happened with... Liam Lawson also lost control of the car as he went side by side with... hang on. Oh, Liam Lawson literally did an Isaac Hadjar. I'm just watching the replay. Liam Lawson literally did an Isaac Hadjar. Dropped it on the white line under safety car conditions and went into the same bit of barrier backwards. That'll make Isaac Hadjar feel a bit better. Obviously not making it to the start of this race because multiple drivers have done similar and one driver's done exactly the identical thing. But anyway, here we go. Race restarts. Lando Norris leads from Max Verstappen here. George Russell in P3, Albon P4, Antonelli P5, Lance Stroll 6. Lots of good points on offer for many a driver here who wouldn't have expected it. But how will Lando manage this race restart? Max Verstappen smells mainly really kind of an undeserved race win, but that is the nature of F1. Could he capitalise here in the closing stages of this race? We have 6 laps remaining here at the Albert Park circuit in Australia, Melbourne, for the first race of this year, and Lando leads down into turn 1 from Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri has already gained a position on Ollie Bearman. Has anyone else gained positions here at the restart? No. Charles Leclerc has got past Lewis Hamilton down into turn 1, it seems. And has that compromised Lewis Hamilton? Could Lewis Hamilton be overtaken here by Yuki Tsunoda down into turn 3? I think they're side by side as they head into turn 3. Yuki Tsunoda, who has been also someone on the receiving end of a very poor strategy decision, is just not able to get past Lewis Hamilton there in P10. Max Verstappen already 1.2 seconds back from Lando Norris. Lando has now this race start again at the 3rd time of asking. George Russell on the back of Max Verstappen. I don't think DRS is going to be activated between now and the end of the race. Alex Albon in P4. Go on, Albon. You can do it. Antonelli chasing him down for an unlikely P4. A P5 would be amazing for him, but there's more on offer. Gasly being chased down by Charles Leclerc. Nico Hülkenberg, could he potentially steal another position from Lance Stroll? An unlikely one for him as Oscar Piastri and Esteban Ocon are trading places here in the closing stages of this race. When we cross the line, there will be 5 laps remaining. What an unbelievable topsy-turvy race this has been. If you've enjoyed this stream, please continue to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back here, of course, for every single session here this year. And, well, if it's anything like this race weekend, we're in for a very, very interesting 2025. That is for sure. Lando Norris leads 1.3 seconds from Max Verstappen, and I'll tell you what, there's already gaps forming here on the race restart. Max Verstappen 1.5 seconds back from Lando Norris, who has been in commanding fashion here today at Albert Park. George Russell 1.3 seconds back from Verstappen, Albon 1.5 further back from Russell. Antonelli putting the pressure on Alex Albon here. Piastri just gained another position on Yuki Tsunoda, and he's a man scorned here, looking to chase down Lewis Hamilton now. That is next, the driver in his crosshairs. Lance Stroll all aboard the Stroll train as it currently stands, though, as Stroll is 6 tenths ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, with Gasly close behind. Charles Leclerc all over the rear wing of Pierre Gasly, though. He needs to be careful. He's been in a few tussles today, Charles Leclerc, and he hasn't come out necessarily top trumps. Lewis Hamilton in the DRS of Charles Leclerc, but it does seem like maybe Charles Leclerc got a good drive out of turn 8 there. Is he going to go for a move down into the chicane on Pierre Gasly down into turn 9? It'll be a bold move in these conditions, even on intermediates. And no, he doesn't. He just backs off. Does he have the drive through turn 10 though? Has he unsettled the Alpine driver, or has he unsettled himself? As Lewis Hamilton's got a drive on his own teammate now. The two Ferrari drivers, the teammates are side by side through turn 11. Does Lewis Hamilton just hold back, or does he decide to go, I want one better over my teammate in my first race in red? And no, he holds station. He's got 1.8 seconds over Oscar Piastri. And maybe he thought it wasn't worth it for P9 at this moment in time. Both Ferrari drivers in the same position, outdone by the poor strategy decision of keeping them out on the stick tyres too long by Ferrari. Ferrari doing Ferrari things. It's 2025. It's a new era for Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton in the car, but some things never change, do they? With 4 laps remaining, Lando Norris 1.6 second gap over to Max Verstappen now as Leclerc does get past Pierre Gasly, and Gasly is under pressure here as Lewis Hamilton also dispatches the Frenchman into turn 3, and that's allowed Oscar Piastri to close up as well. And Pierre Gasly, who really hasn't done anything wrong this weekend, he has just been pretty solid this race, didn't benefit from that furore earlier with the safety cars and with drivers going off with the slick tyres. He is potentially not even going to finish in the points here, whereas Nico Hülkenberg could. DRS has now been enabled, and that will not be music to Alex Albon's ears, but it will be to Kimi Antonelli, who is 4 tenths behind Alex Albon and trying to gain 12 positions in his first F1 race in the colour of Mercedes. As Gasly did have a big tank swapper. The reason why Gasly got swallowed up there into turn 3 is because he had a big tank swapper through turn 2. We've seen many a driver go off there today, well, 2 drivers to be exact. And well, Lando Norris, with 3 laps remaining now, is 1.3 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. He lost a bit of time there to Max. What was the lap time last time around? Yes, he lost 3 tenths to Max Verstappen. Where did he lose those 3 tenths? In the middle sector, it seems. Max Verstappen had a much better middle sector, but as we know, it's difficult to overtake here anyway, so even Max does catch Lando. You do think Lando does have this in the bag now. Cue commentator's curse. I really hope not, Lando fans. Oscar Piastri all over the back of Pierre Gasly. Surely it's only a matter of time with DRS open. Can Hülkenberg get a P6 here? An unlikely P6. He didn't make it out of Q1. We had low expectations for Stake F1 this year, but he is going to be scoring points here today regardless. But how many can he score? I didn't predict that Stake F1 would score points this year, but wow, how wrong am I? Piastri has overtaken Pierre Gasly through turn 3 and is now back into the points. A consolation point for Piastri. Of course, no points on offer this year for fastest lap. Over 10,000 viewers, by the way, for the closing stages of this race. Big thank you. As Lando Norris is under pressure from Max Verstappen with 3 laps remaining. Lando Norris, another considerably slow. He's made an error through the middle sector at 19.4 compared to Verstappen's 18.7, and that has allowed Verstappen to catch up. Lando having issues in that middle sector in the McLaren, whereas Verstappen isn't. Norris does have the better of the Red Bull through the first and last sector, but what is occurring in that middle sector that Lando is struggling with? And Max is in his rearview mirrors. He'll be forcing Lando into a mistake. We will see. 2 laps remaining after this lap. What is going to happen at Albert Park? It has been an unbelievably topsy-turvy race. We still may have a surprise here on our hands. Verstappen could still win this race. He was over a pit stop back halfway through this race. McLaren were dominating it. They were looking like the Mercedes of old from back in 2014. but the rain said no. Someone in the Red Bull garage did a rain dance and they got their prayers answered as Max is 6/10 back on Lando Norris now. How does he handle this middle sector? It seems to be a bit better from Lando this time around as the gap does stay consistent, but Verstappen does have DRS available. You can see that gap coming down. 2/10. Is he going to go for a move down into turn 9? No, he's just not close enough, but he gets down to 2/10 behind Lando Norris, drops back through a half a second, but he can have DRS again down into turn 11. Antonelli has been noted for an unsafe release as Antonelli, as we mentioned that, and it comes through that Antonelli may get a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe release, overtakes Alex Albon into P4. What a drive from Antonelli today. One of the few drivers to actually get moves done out on circuit. Lando Norris though, 2 laps remaining. We're about to approach the penultimate lap of this race. At the pace in the car, do not overpush it is what is being relayed to Lando Norris right now. Apologies, that was the penultimate lap. We are on the final lap here. A last lap dash for the race win here at Albert Park. There is less than half a second separating Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Oh no, it's just gone out to 7/10. Max Verstappen maybe a bit of a twitch on the rear out of turn 2. It's been twitchy there all day. Hulkenberg still pressuring Lance Stroll there with Leclerc chasing him down to try and gain an extra position, as is Piastri as well. A man scorned here today, trying to gain an extra point, which could be all important in his driver championship ambitions in 2025. Max Verstappen, he has one more middle sector to contend with Lando Norris, and the gap has maintained. But we saw Max go very close here earlier on. Is he going to go for a late lunge? We know Max is bold. We know he's brave. But how is he in these conditions in this race? A 5-second time penalty for Kimi Antonelli. Unfortunately, he gets up to the rear of Lando Norris. It's very close, but not close enough. He has one more opportunity. DRS down into turn 11. Are we going to see a trademark Max Verstappen late send here in these treacherous conditions? No. It's all about controlling the rear of the car for Lando Norris now, with just a couple of corners to contend with. These corners have costed McLaren here today. Most so for Oscar Piastri, who does overtake Lewis Hamilton there through turn 10. Bowled by Oscar Piastri. There's one more corner. It's still treacherous. We saw signs go off under safety car conditions, and it is Lando Norris wins the Australian Grand Prix. A whisker from Max Verstappen in P2. George Russell comes across the finish line in P3 with Antonelli with a 5-second time penalty. I'm not sure where that will take him. I think Antonelli will move down into P5. He will indeed, as Albon finishes P4. Albon in P4. Stroll, yes, you heard that correctly, ladies and gentlemen. Stroll in P6. Nico Hulkenberg in P7. The Stake F1 has scored more points here than the Ferrari. Unbelievable. Charles Leclerc in P8, Oscar Piastri P9, Hamilton in P10, Gasly P11, Tsunoda P12, Ocon in 13th, Behrman 14th, and we lost Lawson, Bortoletto, Alonso, Sainz, Doohan and Hadjar today in the first race of the season. But I must say, what a drive from Lando Norris. He had a lot to contend with today. That was the most up and down Australian Grand Prix that I have ever witnessed. Been a pleasure to commentate for you all today. What an unbelievable, mind blown. There is so much to unpack in this race. Do not go anywhere. We have got plenty to discuss, but unbelievable there. Unbelievable end to this race. Lando Norris held off Max Verstappen. He held off the pressure. Max Verstappen will be very happy with a P2, considering it was looking like a P3. He wasn't looking very good heading in. Well, he had played down his expectations heading into this weekend, and that is a great P2. That's also a great P3 for George Russell, who has just gone under the radar here today. Albon, though. Al blooming Bono. Like, what a drive. What a drive from Albon. P4. Antonelli, P5, a great drive from him, massively benefiting from that strategy decision to pit onto the intermediates at the right time. Lance Stroll in P6, gaining those positions for Aston Martin, but we didn't expect some big gainers here in Antonelli, Stroll and Hulkenberg. Who expected Hulkenberg to finish P7? I put him in my fantasy league just because I didn't have enough money for anyone else. And look where he is. He's gained points for me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Unbelievable, guys. Let's run a poll. Let's run a poll of what you think. What a start to 2025. And we head to China next week, which is also a very, very good race circuit. I love the Chinese circuit, the Shanghai circuit. who knows what that has got in store for us with it being a sprint race weekend as well. Rate the Aussie GP. Sorry, just watching an overtake of Oscar Piastri. He went round the outside of Lewis Hamilton through turn 10. Oh my goodness, what an overtake from Oscar Piastri. The balls there on the end of Oscar Piastri there to overtake Lewis Hamilton round the outside. That is unbelievable. Oof. Oh, hang on. There we go. Let me know, what do you rate this out of 10, ladies and gentlemen? What do you rate this race out of 10? Unbelievable. Oh, I need to breathe. Can we just mention Ferrari strategy team? What the absolute hell? What the absolute hell? Who made that decision to not even one driver? Both drivers. They effed up on both drivers. Like, they were right behind Max Verstappen. This is what I don't get. Max pitted. If they pitted a lap earlier, or 2 laps earlier, with Max, they would have been P3 and P4 right now. Potentially. They at least would have been in the top 5. Yeah, they're P8 and P10. Through no fault of their own. I feel sorry for Yuki. I feel very sorry for Yuki. He also, I don't know what they were thinking putting him on mediums. He actually pitted at the right time, Yuki Tsunoda. Yet they put him on mediums while everyone was going on intermediates. Are they drunk in the RB garage? Are they drunk? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But yes, wow, what a race. I can't believe we lost 6 cars. Oh, bless me. I can't believe we lost 6 cars. We lost 1 car before the race even began. We lost 2 cars on the opening lap. 1 under a safety car in Sainz, Jack Doohan. Then we lost Alonso, obviously, through turn 6. Then we lost Bortoletto. Then we lost Lawson under safety car conditions as well at the exact same corner in exactly the same fashion, almost identical to Isaac Hadjar. You can literally overlay the onboard of Lawson and Hadjar and it will be identical. Oh. What if they did that because they didn't want him up there with Max? I mean, it just seems bizarre. Look at that. He didn't even do a single... Well, it says that he didn't do a single lap on them. But I'm pretty sure they put him on... Yeah, they put him on mediums. That's why he lost so much time. Yuki essentially made an extra pit stop than he needed to. But wow, what a race, guys. What a race. The majority of you are voting 9 out of 10. 42% of you think 9 out of 10 for this race. 30% of you think 7 out of 8. Look, I'm going to say, depends on how you rate a race. For carnage and unpredictability and for entertainment value, that was a 10 out of 10. That was a 10 out of 10. The actual racing in itself, the wheel-to-wheel racing, few and far between, probably a 7 out of 10. But I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10. For me, a 10 out of 10 race is I need a wheel-to-wheel battle for the win, or more wheel-to-wheel battles, and we didn't really get that. But for a season opener, that is exactly what you want. Entertaining, not knowing what's going to happen, unpredictability. I mean, who would have predicted Hulkenberg up? I mean, what were the odds on Hulkenberg finishing in P7? You would have made a fortune today. You would have made a fortune. But yes, I think considering Albert Park is normally quite a boring race as well, I think we've solved the issue with the Australian Grand Prix. We just need rain. Everyone just needs to do their rain dances of the Australian Grand Prix in the future so that we get an entertaining race. Fastest lap points. There is no more point for the fastest lap anymore. It has been removed. It has been removed. Thank you, Clifton. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the commentary at the end there. I did try my best. I mean, there was a few... We had our difficulties this stream, didn't we? The data wasn't really playing ball. Especially with the track map, made things a bit tricky, so I do apologise for that. That's not something out of my control. Most of you still spared with, so I do appreciate that. Trying to get my head around with the track map being out of sync and with regards to what was happening in that hectic moment with, of course, Norris going off, Piastri going off, and people changing on to intermediates from slicks. Like that whole kind of like 3 laps was carnage. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that and just like clip it because it was just madness. I think we did a good enough job, guys, and we peaked at 11,000 viewers, I think. Just under 11. Did we peak at 11,000 viewers? We peaked at, yeah, just under 11,000 viewers. So that is not good. That is not bad going for the first race of the season, guys. That's more than doubled my expectations. So a big, big thank you for everyone who tuned in. A big thank you for everyone who has subscribed and has found this channel. We'll be back for every single race this year, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Let's show the standings. Yes, let's show the standings for... where are we? Where are we? Why is it not on there? Investigations. No. Championship. There we go. Championship predictions is what we're looking for. Here we go. Here we go. This is the standings after championship standings after the first race here. Norris, 25 points for him, maximum points. As we mentioned, no bonus point for fastest lap. Now, Verstappen, P2, he'll be over the moon with that after really having low expectations for this weekend, let alone having a sniff at the win at the end there. Russell, P3, 15 points for him. Alex Albon, P12, sorry, not P12, 12 points for Alex Albon. Brilliant. Unbelievable. By the way, I've had an absolute blinder. I had Mercedes as my constructors, as one of my constructors in the Fantasy League, and I thought they might suffer with Antonelli, but done really well there, and with Albon up there. It's just a shame, obviously, about Carlos Sainz. Lance Stroll's got 8 points. Lance Stroll has 8 points already. Unbelievable. As does Nico Hulkenberg on 6. Nico Hulkenberg has more points than Ferrari combined. What? Oscar Piastri, 2 points. That move on Lewis Hamilton at the end there, I highly recommend you go and watch the highlights. It was ballsy on the last lap, but that point could be all important. That extra point could be all important come the end of the season, especially if he's going to be fighting his teammate for the majority of the season. If this was just a pure dry race, we saw how dominant McLaren were. They were so far ahead of Verstappen. It was kind of right, really, that Norris won this race just because of how well he drove and because of how quick that McLaren was. But, look, rain, it's the great equaliser, isn't it? Championship standings in regards to constructors, well, yeah, with Antonelli there in P5, Mercedes are nearly at the top of the standings there. If it wasn't for Piastri's move on the last lap and Lewis Hamilton, they'd be equal at the top, Mercedes and McLaren. Red Bull 18 points, Williams 12 points. It's only Ferrari and it's only Ferrari and Mercedes who had double point scorers there. So yeah, that is the Constructors' Championship at the moment. Oh my goodness. Whew. Just taking a breather for a second, guys, just to try and figure out what's happened. Why did Antonelli get a penalty? He got a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe release in the pit lane. So not something that is down to his control, but yeah, he got an unsafe release. Who's your driver of the day, ladies and gentlemen? Who's your driver of the day? I'm going to end the poll here. So most of you think it's a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. I'm going to do driver of the day. I am going to do some driver rating videos moving forward as well now, guys. So you can let me know what you think of the ratings. I'll try and make it a bit more interactive moving forward as well in regards to like polls and so forth. Norris, Verstappen. Shall we say Antonelli? And Albon. Stroll. I'm not giving it to Stroll. I can't. I just can't bring myself to give driver of the day to Stroll. I just can't. Bearman, he unlapped himself twice. I know. Lots of you are saying Albon, Kimi, Lando. I'm intrigued what you think, actually. Do I think this was a championship winning-esque drive from Lando? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Oh, hang on. Did I end the vote? Oh, apologies. Hang on. What happened there? Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to rig the vote, aren't I? I'm sorry. I was like, where's it gone? Verstappen, Kimi, and Albon. Sorry. I do apologise there. I'm sorry. What do I think? What do I think of that drive by Lando? Yeah, that was a championship. That's the sort of drive that I think in the past Lando probably would have folded under the pressure. He managed that race perfectly. You have to remember like how topsy-turvy that race was. Every single race restart he managed perfectly. He had pressure from Max at the end there, and he dealt with it very well. What I was super impressed with by Lando, and if you go and watch the initial race start, what I noticed was how he covered off perfectly Oscar into the first corner. Into the first corner, he did perfectly. He did exactly what he needed to do. He's learned. That's an indication that he's learned. He went across Oscar and he covered off the inside. Inside car has all the power heading into a corner with the ahead of the apex rule. And that's what he did. He didn't leave a gap or an opportunity for him or Max Verstappen, for Piastri or Max Verstappen, to get up his inside. And he led from there on out. And that was really... That's a clear indication to me that he's learnt from last year, analysed last year, seen what he has to do better. And yeah, the rest of it was just great pace. Absolutely great pace. 4 more crashes and Hulkenberg would have been on a podium. I know! Kimi is talentless as F. All the other rookies binned it except Ollie, who scared shitless after he'd been in FP. Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, I disagree that... sorry, not talentless. You said Kimi is talented. It's tough for the rookies. It is tough. It's tough circumstances. They've all learnt very hard lessons this weekend. And I'm sure they'll learn from it and they'll come back stronger. Behrman will just be positive that he finished the race. Yeah, it's been a very poor weekend for him. It's been a poor weekend for Haas. If we look at the if we look at where they finished. Bearing in mind, there was a safety car. There was a safety car with 7 laps. There were 7 laps remaining when that safety car came in. And they finished 43. They finished 33 seconds off of the lead. With Esteban Ocon, 40 seconds for Behrman. Ocon finished 3.2 seconds back from Tsunoda, and Behrman finished 7.1 seconds back from Ocon. So, very, very poor performance and showing from Haas. I really expected more from them, but it seems like, yeah, they really have their work cut out for them. So, not having Hulk as driver of the day option is mad. Guy scored more points for the team. Then the only reason why is because Hulkenberg didn't. The reason why is because Hulkenberg didn't really do any on-track overtakes. That's why. All of his positions, he made up... I mean, arguably, Hulkenberg's made up 4 positions from just drivers in front of him crashing. And then he made the rest up by a good pit stop strategy. I'm not taking anything away from Hulkenberg in regards to the fact it wasn't a good drive. Of course it was. But there are drivers out there who had better drives today. That's just my opinion. What is driver of the day at the moment? What are the votes? 379 votes, 38% for Norris, 21% for Verstappen, Kimi 23%, Albon 18%. I mean, my driver of the day is Lando. I think Max, for me, I would actually put Max probably third. Would I even put him third? I think I'd definitely put Albon second. Because Albon held off Lewis Hamilton for so many laps. He did a very good job. It would have been very easy to fold under the pressure of Lewis Hamilton behind you in that Ferrari for so many laps. And then to finish P4, very, very controlled drive. And considering he's under pressure with Carlos Sainz's arrival, look what Sainz did. Not a good start to his Williams career after all the hype. Albon has just got a very nice head start, hasn't he, at the start of this season? So, you think VCarb screwed Tsunoda's strat to make it look worse for Liam and Isaac? My tinfoil hat is fully on. Maybe. I'd love to see. I mean, the post-race interviews are going to be interesting. Lando's just seen watching the highlights, and he's just seen Carlos Sainz go off, and he's gone, "Oh, Carlos." So, Max, importantly, after they've just seen the lockup, and Lando went, "Was you struggling after this?" And Max went, "I was already struggling." So, just seeing what else they have to say while they're watching the highlights. Lots of them to take in. I like the post cool down room actually. Oh my goodness! Just watching all of that. Even I've missed some of these parts of what they're mentioning right now. George Russell didn't even see it and was like, "Oh my god!" with Oscar Piastri. Bortoletto's right rear suspension. Bortoletto's right rear suspension went on him, didn't it? That was odd. That was bizarre. That was very bizarre. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate you all tuning in. We're still going to take it all in. I'm not disappearing anywhere just anytime soon. If you can hit that like button still. Get this stream to 1,500 likes. Go on, you can do it. You can do it. And by the way, thank you for all the subs that have been coming in as well. Much appreciated. I don't know what we started the stream at. I think we started at the stream. I think we had 35.5. So I think we've had over 700 subs this stream. So a big thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Over 10,000 viewers. That's more than I expected. Over 100,000 individual views. So yeah, big thank you everyone. I like talking numbers. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if V-Carb did purposely sabotage Yuki. That seems to be the case. That seems to be the consensus, doesn't it? Max not going to win the World Drivers' Championship this year, will he? Well, I have predicted, but I still don't think he will. I think what was very telling for Max and Red Bull is that when they was on that intermediate tyres and when they went on to the dry tyre for a little bit, McLaren were just so much quicker. Like, supremely quicker. It was ominous pace that they had. It's also very ominous for Ferrari. It's also ominous for Mercedes. Like, they were just falling back. I mean, it was 20 laps into the race, or 18 laps into the race, and they already had a free pit stop over George Russell in P4. Like, that was absolutely crazy pace from them. Of course, unique circumstances, and Albert Park is a unique circuit. China and Suzuka will be more representative if we have dry conditions. That is so, but I don't think there's I don't think anyone can dispute that McLaren are definitely the quickest car at the moment, and they're definitely the team to beat. So, what an amazing Italian stallion, Kimi. Yeah, what a drive from him. Yeah, very good drive to be up there. He's one of the only few drivers who actually pulled off some overtakes on circuit. So fair play to him. What are the chances that their car gets banned too? I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, they may have done some things that are flirting with the rules. I mean, look, this championship could still turn on its head. In 7 races time, I think it's Barcelona, the technical reg for the flexi wing comes in. So no more flexi wings, basically. And that could really flip this championship on its head. The thing is that we saw last year a dominant start by Max Verstappen, and then the car just fell off. Because it is a very long season, 24 race season with 6 sprint races, there's plenty of opportunity even after 10 races for the season to flip on its head. So yeah, that's the great thing about there being a longer season. Thanks for the watch along, off to bed, great job even with the technical glitches. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, apologies for the technical glitches, they were out of my control. Normally just turn it on and off again sorts it out, but because it's Australia, normally there's always some sort of delay in the data and some sort of glitch. But we got there in the end, and I think it's synced up. It's synced up, thankfully, for the closing stages of the race. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. How much is that flexi wing worth? It can be worth a lot. Yeah, it can be definitely worth a lot. I don't really know. I mean, there's definitely some more magic that is going on in that McLaren than last year. They've been very aggressive they've been very aggressive on the rear of the car and the development of the car. So, yeah, we'll see. Hamilton needs to be investigated on how to listen to a message. Perez cannot endorse a US team these days. What, for political reasons, you think? Maybe. Going to be an interesting year between Lando, Max, and George. Yeah, we'll see. No doubt they'll make progression, the other teams. As we mentioned, the Albert Park's unique circuit is high speed, high loaded circuit. They were very good, obviously, looking after their tyres into the last sector. That's the real key. Will that be the case in China? You've got that very long back straight. You've got some high braking zones, high speed braking zones. So could be very different. But I still think McLaren will be up there. So 4 attempts is a lot. It is a lot. Yeah, it's so the reason why they were so much quicker yesterday in qualifying is because they were able to manage their tyres for much longer. Their tyres weren't overheating by the time they reached the last sector, whereas Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes, they all did. So that was the issue for them, and it means that they can go faster for longer. It's why Red Bull was so dominant for the past few seasons, is that they were just looking after their tyres for so long. Like there was the no deg kind of meme. Like, oh, he's got no deg, he's got no degradation. Because of how good they were on the tyres. So, is there data that shows average lap time for each racer? No, don't think so. I don't think so. Let me go to here and see. Let's go to... There may be an average lap, but I don't think so. Total laps completed... No, unfortunately. Max set a purple first sector with 31 lap old inters. Yeah, well, they were getting like, the thing is, you run the intermediates for so long, they end up becoming, you wear the tread off and they end up becoming like slicks. If you remember Lewis Hamilton in Turkey and Istanbul, that's what he did, so. We held off the Dutch demon. Nice to hear the national anthem, by the way. And by the way, that now breaks a 63 race run, consecutive run, of Max Verstappen leading the World Championship. So, yes, Lando Norris now leads the World Championship for the first time in his career. And Max Verstappen, for the first time in 3 years, is not leading the World Championship. He's close. He's second. But I thought that was just an interesting stat for you all. Check Shanghai weather forecast. Oh, yeah, I'll check the Shanghai weather forecast for next week. Let's have a look. Shanghai circuit. Weather. Let's have a look. So next week, it looks dry. That's what I've got here. So... Oh, I say that it's dry and then it's raining on the Monday. So maybe there may be some rain. Maybe that is earlier the day before on Sunday, but the week is dry. The whole week is yeah, just remaining warm with hazy sun, and it might be cloudy on the Sunday. So. Because it is a sprint race weekend next week, guys, if you remember. Ferrari needs to be studying on what not to do. Yeah, I'm interested to hear some post-race interviews and take in everything. I mean, Lewis, obviously, he wasn't happy with the information that was being relayed to him by his engineer. Too much information. Even Charles Leclerc also said too much information. So there's still some work to be done by the engineers and the pit wall in regards to strategy and how they're relaying their information to their drivers. I think that's the biggest doo-doo of today, other than Yuki Tsunoda's. I mean, for them to leave him out that long, when everyone was already on the intermediates, and like, I know it was a hectic moment. Maybe you could say, well, it was all very hectic, but Max Verstappen pitted at the right time, and he came P2. So, yeah. Norris is not your championship leader. He may not be your championship leader, but he is. So there you go. That doesn't lie. China should know how to make it rain. Yeah, they could if they wanted to. Piastri had a decent recovery, but tough day for him. Yeah, I mean, look, who knows? That 2 points, that move on Lewis Hamilton round the outside, honestly, through turn 10, 9 and 10 was ballsy. Absolutely ballsy from Oscar Piastri. It could have ended up so badly for him on the last lap there. I mean, I guess it had already ended up quite poorly for him, considering where he was. But 2 points, an extra point there at the end on that overtake on Lewis, how important could that be come the end of the season? Every point matters. So if Ferrari did not pit, they would have still gotten a better result. Yeah, no, they wouldn't have done, because it was wet. They had to pit. It was the timing of the pit that was incorrect, but they ballsed up on. So please tell me what happened to Ferrari. You fell asleep, and no way this is real. P16 to P5 for Antonelli. I know. So what happened is that there was carnage with a... So after the safety car restart of Fernando Alonso's crash, everyone was on dry tyres, and there was a literal intense shower for like 3 laps that came around while everyone was on slicks. Lando went off track through turn 12. Piastri did. Lando was able to control the car and not spin when he rejoined the track, whereas Oscar did spin. That's why he ended up down outside of the points and, well, recovered to P9. And then there was just a massive hoo-ha of the rest of the track being dry. So some drivers stayed on slicks for longer than they probably wanted to. It was only wet in the last sector, turns 11 to turn 14. And then it ended up going across pretty much the whole track. And yeah, we saw Ferrari stay out, I think it was 1 or 2 laps. It was definitely a lap. But they pitted after Max Verstappen did, a lap after Max Verstappen did, maybe even 2. And they dropped, because everyone had already got onto intermediates, they were making up time. The advantage they had was getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the field was. And by the time they pitted, they came out in P9 and P10. So yeah. So, never a dull moment. Most exciting and chaotic OzGP ever. Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Much appreciated. Imagine if Ocon had stayed out, they well could have gotten points. The only problem with that is that I think his intermediates, he was on 33 lap old intermediates by the time he pitted. Oh no, the data's disappeared. That's a shame. So I think at the end of the day, he would have suffered when that rain came around last time. So kick salver above Ferrari, no one had that. I know. Expect less from Ferrari. Honestly, the strategy was just so wrong. I really want to hear about it, but let's change scene. Expect less. Yeah, thanks for the stream. Going back to bed for a couple of hours. No, James. I'm really wide awake right now. I might not look it. I'm a bit frazzled after that race, to be honest with you, and this stream. But yeah, what a race. I am going to do some driver rating videos, guys, moving forward. As I said, I will try and get your guys' input on it moving forward. I'm going to keep like a schedule of my driver ratings, and then we'll tally them up and do an average at the end of the year. You know that jazz. Look, I know a lot of other channels do something similar, but I think that's always quite cool to do, because everyone has their own individual races. Someone may have a 10 out of 10. I.e. Nico Hulkenberg or something. That's not to say I'm giving him a 10 out of 10, but, you know, considering that drivers get overlooked, don't they? We always focus about the top, so. Feel sorry for Yuki over. Yeah, do you know what? Yuki actually drove a very good race today. Yuki was doing a very good race. He got swallowed a little bit, I think, under the safety car restart, the second safety car restart, so Alonso's crash, when everyone was on slick tyres. Unfortunately for him, Charles Leclerc had a wobble in front of him and he overtook him, and then the pack got really bunched up. And with Charles Leclerc trying to regain that position, he made contact, and I think he lost a couple of positions. Like he could have done, really, with Charles Leclerc just driving off into the distance and not getting involved with Charles, because then that brought the other cars behind him that he was truly fighting, that brought them into play. And then, of course, the strategy decision just removed everything. So just a suggestion for the review video, it's better to add chapters to the videos to make it more engaging. Yeah. I think, so last year I did kind of like take your questions, Arnold. in like a community post, and then I answered them. But I think we do that here anyway. I think a driver rating video is just a little bit more kind of to the point. I can discuss points in that in regards to those ratings. And it's kind of like a ratings and review in one, isn't it, really? So I'm going to do that, and I'll add chapters. Yeah, I'll add chapters of who I am talking about driver-wise. So Yuki is replacing Lawson mid-season. No, look, it wasn't a good weekend for Lawson by any means. He needs time. Of course, he didn't get time on Friday. On Saturday, especially with the engine issue that he had. I don't think people realise how much missing out on a session affects you and your prep, especially at a circuit that you've never been at before, or raced at before. He probably only did a couple of push laps as well, I think, on the Friday. So yeah, it was a tall order for him to get kind of a decent qualifying, I guess, but he should have still done better than what he did. Then he was always going to be on the back foot on today. So was Lawson having problems with his back wing? He kind of knocked the back wing off. I don't know if he had problems with it, but he knocked the back wing off when it came to what is it? I can't remember. The crash. There was a moment in that period where they were on slick tyres after the safety car that Lawson was actually going, his lap times were pretty decent. He was pretty good, but then of course the whole shenanigans of the rate of the safety car came out again and stuff. So don't say never anything is possible, but I don't know, with Ferrari every year they just get our hopes up and just lose it all to be us. So I said, and this is the thing, I vividly remember it, in my predictions, I said I did predict Charles Leclerc would be P2 and I predicted Lewis Hamilton would be P3. Not a good start for those predictions, but I did say the reason why they will not win a world championship this year is because of Ferrari, not because of the drivers. Because I don't feel like the drivers did anything wrong today, or this weekend. The car just wasn't at the races compared to McLaren and the others, which is really surprising. And then it came to, what did it come to? And then Lewis just came unstuck behind Albon. Leclerc was the big beneficiary of gaining 2 positions at the start, but then he ended up in no man's land. Leclerc couldn't catch Russell. Tyres were overheating. He had to look after them. Lewis just didn't have enough in that car to get past Albon, who had a very good race and looked very strong at a track that is notoriously difficult to overtake. So yeah, the real crux of it is that they threw away any sort of half decent finish here because of the strategy. So almost cried when doing crash. His situation seems hopeless. I mean, it is his fault, but at the same time, I don't blame him. I mean, it was, when you look at the onboard back, there's spray in front of him. It's the start of the race. It's tough to see the white lines ahead of you when you're sitting down in that cockpit. And he just got caught out by it. And it could have been anyone. Carlos Sainz did it at the last lap, on the last corner. So, yeah, could have been anyone. Lewis should have just stayed with Mercedes. I have a feeling these Germans will build a rocket ship for engine next year. No, the problem is KM is that he was only going to be given a 1+1 year deal. That's the problem at Mercedes. They kind of were looking to move him out for Kimi anyway next year, and they were looking to move on. Whereas in Ferrari, he's got a 2+2 year deal. So this just proves that Ferrari are the slowest in the top 4 right now. No way they're this far behind, because they're just outside the top 4, because no way. Look, it's a tricky track, Albert Park. It is kind of an unrepresentative track, yet a lot of drivers who have won the opening race at Australia have gone on to win the World Championship, so I guess that bodes well for Norris. But there have been teams who have done poor at Albert Park, and then they've actually done really well throughout the season. So seeing Lewis's dad calm down Hadjar was wholesome moment of the year. That was such a lovely touch. Yeah, because no one was comforting him. Everyone just had kind of cameras in his face. I guess people were just doing their jobs. But he purposely went out of his way to find him and put an arm around him and just give him some nice words when he probably needed them most. Piastri wanted to come in 1 lap earlier, but they told him he had to do 1 more lap. Oh, really? Jesus. Yeah, that's a real shame. That's a real shame for Piastri and McLaren. I don't even blame the rookies who crashed out. Your first race is a rain race. Even Alonso crashed out, which says a lot. Antonelli was incredible. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Unique circumstances at a street circuit as well. I mean, those painted lines are a pain, aren't they? In normal conditions. Sorry, in wet conditions. So I'm just watching Oscar's off track here. He had a snap of oversteer. Oh, I know how Oscar feels. I know how Oscar feels when he rejoins the track and you think you've saved the car. You rejoin the track and then it just spins on you. And you're like, no, I did so well to control the car. Plenty of time I've done that in sim racing. So Leclerc is good enough, but old man Lewis is nowhere every weekend and is constantly flabbergasted. I wouldn't say Lewis was nowhere this weekend, and I wouldn't say he was flabbergasted. I was looking at his lap times, and his lap times are good compared to Leclerc, considering Leclerc was in clean air as well, and he was stuck behind Alex Albon. So I think Lewis did what he could with the car that he had here this weekend. The fact that Charles Leclerc didn't completely outperform Lewis bodes well, because it showcases that Lewis is not that far off of Leclerc, which we always expected him to be, slightly off of Leclerc. I don't think anyone expected him to be on pace with Leclerc instantly. And then he was setting, decent enough lap times alongside Leclerc as well. So, do I think this shows that Red Bull is actually fast, or was Max just overdriving the hell out of the car like he usually does? No, the Red Bull isn't fast. No. There was, before the second safety car came out, Norris and Piastri were a pit stop ahead of Max Verstappen. And Max was lapping around the same time. And Max had pace in the wet to start off with, but as soon as the track started to dry out, he started to lose a lot of tyres. He started to struggle. And he was lapping similar-ish pace to kind of George Russell. I would say he was quicker than the Ferraris for sure. But yeah, it's some way to go for every team to catch up to McLaren. That's really evident. Apparently the painted lines aren't FIA-approved paint. They're just normal paint for regular streets. Yeah, exactly. And that's a street circuit, isn't it? So, yeah. Hamilton was abusive to his engineer? No, he just swore. He swore about where he was. He wasn't abusive to his engineer. If you think that's abuse, then, yeah, I think you're misinformed. How long is left on Max's contract? Supposedly, he's got a contract to 2028. But as we all know, there's always release clauses, and he'll be looking. He'll look to get out of the team if he feels like the team isn't performing and so forth as well. So, you think Lewis is right up there with Leclerc? Got up to speed really fast. Maybe a tenth or two down. Yeah, exactly. Max did well for what he had to work with. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Max will be over the moon with P2. The fact that he found himself in a position to even try and snatch the win at the end there, he would have been like, if he won that race, he probably would have sat there and gone, how the bloody hell have I won that? I don't even really deserve it. But that's racing. That's what can happen sometimes. Hopefully they come back stronger next race. If they don't, I have zero hope for Ferrari, and that's it. Well, there definitely will be question marks. And look, Ferrari ended last year quick. They definitely were quick. While McLaren were quicker, Sainz finished P2. He wasn't tremendously that far behind Lando in the last race. There were some races that they looked very good. And then they decided this year to change the concept of their car. They've decided to take a very different approach to their car, which had a lot of people scratching their heads. So most definitely, there will be valid questions asked that if the car is not performing and is very far off the pace after 5, 6, 7 races, why did they decide to do that? So I can talk non-stop. I know, Kai. My missus says I don't know how I bloody do it. She's like, I'm in the other room and you don't come up for air, and I don't know how I do it either. I don't know how my brain does it. I'm starting to look tired though. Oh my god, the bag's under my eyes. I've had very minimal sleep this weekend. I'm surprised I'm awake right now. Maybe catching up to me though. If you think that's abuse, you should work for the FIA moderation people. It was intriguing that they just completely bleeped it out though. I do wonder. So I do wonder if he will be fined for that though and given a warning. like genuinely. Because I'm pretty sure they were saying, I'm pretty sure they haven't clarified, have they? Have they clarified yet whether or not that rule means for in the car? I'm not sure they have. I know they definitely have in regards to like professional setting to like interviews and so forth. But I don't think we ever got clarification that they weren't going to be penalised for swearing in the cockpit. So we'll see. And with respect, we have also seen Lewis be picked on before with kind of these silly rules in regards to like jewellery and so forth. Like, he's the only man who kind of wore jewellery on the grid. Why is that such a big deal that he has a nose ring in or any other piercing anywhere on his body, you know? Yeah. I was impressed with Lando's composure. Hopefully he's worked on his mental side. I really think he does. I was so impressed with the race start, guys. The race start, go and watch it back. If that was Lando of last season, he would have left the door wide open into the entry of the first corner. But he didn't. He got ahead of his teammate Oscar. He didn't have a better start than Max, but he got ahead of his teammate Oscar, which allowed him to get in front of him. And he just covered straight off to the inside and took control of that first corner. I don't like the head at the apex rule. It's not racing, in my opinion, and it only applies to Formula 1. But you have to, that's how they are, and you have to use the rules to your advantage, which means all the power is given to the driver on the inside ahead at the apex. Because you can force the driver off out of racing circuit. It's their position to give up because they're not ahead at the apex. So, yeah, super impressed by his race start. If they find Lewis the booze aren't the worst thing they'll hear about next, I know. Anthony is a real deal. Watch him in F2. He's got the gift. Well, I did say this at the start. I said keep an eye on Antonelli. He had a tremendous couple of races last year in the wet. One of them was Silverstone, where he led the sprint race from start to finish, like in commanding fashion in wet weather. Then Hungary. He also won the feature race there in changeable conditions from wet to slicks. So, yeah, he is good in the wet, Antonelli. He's a bit of a wet specialist, I would say. And it proved with the few overtakes that he made out there. One of the few drivers to make multiple overtakes out on circuit. Maybe the only driver, to be honest with you. And then, of course, he was in a position to get a benefit of a great strategy call by Mercedes to launch him up the standings. So, yeah, great job from him. My voice is so soothing. I had a nap after the race, just woke up. Is it really? My missus may disagree with you. It's up to you if you believe Drive Survive or not, but Lando said if I knew he would try that, I wouldn't have given him the opening. Yeah, I don't think Lando thought Oscar was going to go around the outside in Monza, to be honest with you. I really don't think he did. But I think that's naivety from Lando. He should have been more... He should have even been like, hang on a second. He's trying to come out around my outside. This is my corner. I always said that. And... yeah, hopefully we're going to see a Lando who knows he has to be more aggressive, because he could very well be just fighting his teammate for this year or for the majority of this year, and he needs to ensure that he beats him. And, well, he had the better of him today, this weekend, even though it was very fine margins. It could have quite easily have been Piastri taking control of this race today if it wasn't for 0.08 of a second in qualifying. But... that wasn't the case, and Lando, yeah, managed this perfectly. So, hang on, listening to Hamon. Oh no, just listen to Anthony is definitely showing signs of a great race. He can be the next Verstappen very soon. Yeah, he just needs to sort out his qualifying. But look, I'm not gonna be too harsh on the rookies. It's very difficult for rookies to get up to speed quickly now. Even Liam Lawson, while he's done 12 races, I still consider him a rookie. He did 5 races, 6 races. He's done like 11 races over the course of 2 seasons. It's his first time starting a season, so for me, he's still a rookie. And he's in a brand new car. In a car that evidently looks a handful. And we know Max has a unique driving style. And when you've been driving a car that is a handful for the last 3-4 years, you're going to manage that better than a rookie who has never had experience with that car. So yeah, Lawson needs a bit of time. I'm sure he will be much better. As I said, his dry laps earlier were good laps. So there is still some positives to take, but not many for Lawson. Was Max's pit stop done very suddenly? Ferrari needed to pit both drivers. They tend not to react quickly. No, I don't think it was done suddenly. Max came on the radio. I remember it. Max came on the radio and said he goes, guys, it's coming down more now. We need to make a decision. and they literally made it that lap. They made it that lap with him coming into the pits, and they left Ferrari out there. So Yuki driving in no man's land for a long time, not racing. The upper hand is that you do finish the race, but not challenge Hamilton. RB notices such things. Wrong tyres in P11 in the race. Yeah, I think Yuki got caught by, as I said before, I think Yuki was running a very decent race, and then he got caught by Charles's mistake. Because of the field backing up with the safety car, Charles made a mistake, and unfortunately, like, he gained that position when he probably could have done with just staying behind him. And because Charles tried to regain the position, they went side by side for a couple of corners, and that allowed the pack behind to really close in and capitalise on Yuki being out of position on track. I still don't like team orders from McLaren, hold position in race 1. So I think what they were thinking about, Catchy, is that, look, they still hadn't approached, when that call came through, they still hadn't approached the halfway mark of the race, and they were waiting for the crossover period onto dry tyres. So I think it was like, look, we're so far ahead right now, just like in treacherous conditions where the intermediates are starting to go, like, turn into slicks. Let's just hold station for a few laps for that crossover period, and then you've still got half a race remaining to go at it against each other. And yeah, I think that's a reasonable decision to make and not throw away points, but they couldn't have foreseen that Alonso would bin it, and they couldn't have foreseen that there was going to be that shower at the end. So do I think McLaren... Cheers, Taco. Thank you for modding all the way, by the way, man. I did see you and James keep on top of chat, so I do appreciate that, trying to keep it at a friendly place. I do understand, guys, that sometimes comments slip through the cracks, and there's some unsavoury comments, whether it be directed at myself and at drivers. It's not what we want here. I'm happy to have a healthy discussion and a healthy disagreement with everyone. I'm not right by any means on everything that I say and everything that comes out of my mouth, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. But I want this to be a place where we can just enjoy F1, no matter who you support, and then we can sit back and take in everything and have a chat about our love for F1 and how much of a crazy race that was. And hopefully it'll be a good season as well. Ace, do I think McLaren will just be dominant the whole season, or that other teams will catch up? I do think they'll catch up, yes. I mean, do you know what? It's a real hard question. In previous years, I would be more adamant that teams would catch up. However, we've got the brand new regs next year. We've got the brand new regs, and we know teams are already gearing development time and resource towards those new regulations next year. How long do teams like Red Bull, like Mercedes, like Ferrari, any of the teams really, how long do they wait before they then just focus all their development attention and resource to next year before calling it quits? That's going to be the real question. Because if Ferrari have 5 more races like this, 6 more races like this, they might just go, no, that's it. Like, we're binning it. We're focusing purely on next year. We'll take what we get this year, but it's just about Lewis embedding himself within the team, and it's all about 2026. I think a lot of teams will do that. So it's really hard, and that could mean that we end up with just McLaren running away with it. But I hope not. I hope not. Hadjar corner of the day, I know. Yuki and Hadjar with some hard work and good race strategy can really bring racing balls on 4th and 5th in constructors. We'll see. We will see. The problem with the RB is that it's very flaky in its performance, isn't it? It's always been very flaky, especially in these regs. So sometimes they turn up at tracks and they're really good, and in some tracks they're just absolutely horrendous, and they could be fighting it with Haas at the back of the grid, 30 plus seconds off the leaders. All the rookies should keep their heads up with much bigger, more powerful car. Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to think that the team principals, while they'll be upset and disappointed, but they'll at least put an arm around them and go, right, look, that's fine. It could have gone, like, it was very unique circumstances. Let's just head down and crack on. The good thing is for them is that they don't have to wait 2-3 weeks for the next race. They're straight into the next race next weekend, a sprint race weekend as well. So they've actually got more opportunity to go properly racing and get lift their chins up. So honestly, sour points in race 1. I feel like I've won already. Do you know what? I need to see my my fantasy league. I think I've done okay, guys. I think I've done okay. Let's have a look. I'm not signed in. It's so hard to think about most teams are going to focus on next year. Yeah, that's the real crux of it. I hope not, because we do want to see a good championship this year. It's really going to be intriguing to see how the teams are at China and Suzuka, Bahrain, Saudi. The next kind of like 4 races are a bit more, they're at more traditional circuits. So, yeah, very different requirements needed. Albert Park is always unique, especially with what we saw here this weekend. But yeah, I mean, regardless of what track you're at, being over a pit stop 20 plus seconds halfway through the race, over, regardless of the conditions, over your next rival is ominous. It's very ominous. It's what we saw. It's what we saw of Red Bull when they were super dominant. I'm not saying McLaren will be like that this year, but it is reminiscent of what we saw from them and Max Verstappen. So, right, where is my fantasy league? There we go. They're calculating the points. I got 147 points. I lost. Oh, I didn't have Hulkenberg. I had Bortoletto. No, I thought I've got the wrong stake driver in the car. I lost -9 for Hadjar, -7 for Sainz. I lost -18 points for Yuki, Bortoletto, Sainz, and Hadjar. And I have Lando Norris, double captain, 90 points. I had Mercedes, 51 points. And I had Williams, 24 points. So, I can't believe I had Bortoletto rather than Hulk, man. Fuck. Oh, I'm gutted about that. But I'm glad I had Mercedes, though. They've saved me there, Mercedes. How are we looking in my own league? Let's have a look. I'm rank 10, apparently. Rank 10. Oh, they haven't updated the points. Okay, so they haven't updated the points. Oh my god, someone's got projected 124 points there. I'm projected 147 points, apparently. So I could be top of my own. Oh, no. Someone's got 173 points. They had Stroll and Hulkenberg. Taraka Jones, you had Hulkenberg and Stroll in your team. Absolute madness that you've come away with like so many points there from that. That is ridiculous. Is that you, Spice? How have you managed to do that? How have you managed to get points with Stroll and Hulkenberg? Unbelievable. The further up the ladder, the more prize money for 2026, so I think teams will still want to improve for that season. Yeah, prize money is still a key factor. Sponsorship, obligations and so forth, you know. So, Red Bull owe Lawson an apology. Shite machinery this round. We'll see. Time will tell. But I think what will... I think what we'll be telling is that if Lawson is the 4th driver to struggle with this car this year, I mean, there's a serious issue with Red Bull's second car, isn't there? People will say it's Max, it's how good he is, but there shouldn't be a car that is so difficult to drive that 4 drivers struggle this severely with it. So, picking Stroll is a big brain move because if you don't get points, of course, you didn't because it's Stroll, but if you do get points, you're a damn genius. Stroll made you proud, yeah. But there we go, guys. That is it for this stream. I'm going to call it there. I need to go. I need to go have some more caffeine. I've been up since 2:30. I did get 4 hours sleep last night, and then yeah, I need something to eat as well. I'm hungry, and I need to digest everything that has just happened. I will put out a driver ratings video later on today. I may film it this morning or afternoon. But yeah, no, big thank you to everyone. I'm going to close driver of the day poll. 1,200 votes. 46% is Lando Norris. 25% Max Verstappen. 17% Kimi. And 11% for Albon. I'm surprised so little for Albon. But yes, I agree. Lando Norris, supreme, controlled, measured drive there today. A champion's drive. And I very, very much do like the way that he handled the start of that race. And yeah, McLaren looking very ominous. But I really appreciate everyone who tuned in today. All the brand new subscribers. Let's have a look and see how many subscribers we've got at the moment. 36,252. I think that is at least 600 subs in this one stream. Maybe even 700. So that is unbelievable. Over 10,000 peak viewers. I didn't expect that for such an early race of the year. We'll be back, of course, for China next week. Only have a few more days to wait until we go into China. So yes, I'm going to do a driver ratings video. Be sure to check that out and delve into kind of maybe what Ferrari thought and some other bits and pieces. And just have I need to be honest, I need to just go back through the stream and just have a look exactly where drivers were positioned in that chaotic moment that happened with Lando and Piastri going off. There was my brain was a bit frazzled trying to understand what was happening at that moment in time, because there could be some and understand what happened with the strategies when teams pitted, who decided to leave their drivers out and so forth. I think there's a lot to assess. So yeah, I think that might be Arjan, you might have just found me the title of my next video. Yeah, unbelievable. But yeah, guys, have a lovely rest of your Sunday wherever you are. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back for China next week, which is a sprint race weekend, the first of the year. So multiple important sessions, only one practice session, which let me just check when those times are. So I think it's morning again, early morning. F1 schedule. Let's have a look. Oh, another early one. Practice 1 is at 3:30 in the morning. Sprint qualifying's at 7:30 in the morning. UK time this is. The sprint race is at 3 a.m. Oh my, I thought China was at a more reasonable time. Qualifying's at 7 a.m. and the Grand Prix is at 7 a.m. So at least the race on Sunday's at a normal time. But I will be able to make every single session next week, guys. And then we follow it up with Japan, which is also a 3:30 practice. A 7 a.m. practice, another 3:30 practice, and then qualifying's at 7 and the Grand Prix at 6. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to get a lot of sleep, am I, over the next couple of weeks? That's for sure. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your Sunday, guys. Thank you for all the subscriptions and all of the likes. Please continue to do so. Hit that like and subscribe button. Turn those notifications as well on for when I go live and when I post videos. And yeah. Keep tuned for my driver ratings that will be out later on today. Thank you as always, guys. What an unbelievable start to 2025. Oh, is every single race going to be as eventful? I'm not sure I'm going to be able to handle it. We'll see you for the next one. Bye.